Welcome to the second episode of the Illegal Use of Hands to the Face Football podcast. Jake, how are you?
I am fantastic, Hayden, and I am really excited to talk about what we got to talk about today.
Yeah, I'm as well. I mean, we're literally talking about everything. So if you want to air your voice out on anything at all, I mean, this is the episode to do it.
Yeah, I am very excited to touch on the Washington football teams of the world, all the way to the Jacksonville Jaguars of the world. You know, the great teams and the terrible
Well,
teams.
you're kind of staying on the East Coast there. I mean, at least travel across the country a little bit. I mean, not really as many interesting teams on the West Coast, but
Yeah. Uh, like what do they got there on the West Coast? 49ers? I mean,
it's
I'd
just,
much rather
I mean,
talk about the Detroit
it's
Lions.
just yeah, yeah. It's just a bunch of mediocre teams over there or good teams. Like where's the bad teams over there? There's not many of
Yeah.
them. It's like
Yeah.
Las Vegas, they're not bad. Los Angeles, they're not bad. Other Los Angeles, they're not bad. Like it's just too much mediocrity. We need some bad teams on the West Coast. NFL, get on that.
Yeah. I I I don't know if I'll be watching any NFL games until there are some terrible teams residing on the West Coast.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think would be a good city for the West Coast to just have an awful team at least initially?
Portland.
It, I was thinking Portland too, but I mean, Portland's got a lot of stuff going on right now. We probably shouldn't do that to Portland. Maybe just like throw like San Jose. Like I don't even know what happens there. We could give them a team.
Give San Diego a team again, so it can also
I,
get ran out of town.
yeah, I was thinking about putting a team back somewhere, but that's not too crazy. I mean, maybe I don't know where Compton is exactly in California, but we could give them a team. I'm sure they wouldn't do well.
We'll give them the Raiders back, but they wouldn't be called the Raiders at that point. So,
Yeah, that's true. All right, you ready to talk about every single team in existence?
oh yeah, I am.
Well, I guess
What
not in
uh, what
existence, but
what conference and what division are we starting in?
I think we should start in the AFC East because we got to talk about our team first.
All right. Well, the Bills, of course, finished 13-3. Magnificent playoff run to lose to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Josh Allen took some amazing steps in his third year, really cementing himself as a franchise quarterback, along with Stephon Diggs coming in, being phenomenal. Uh, what do you think?
Well, you see, the Bills are the first team while I was preparing for this video that I was looking into, and then I realized while I was preparing, it's like, man, if I write notes about every one of these teams, it's gonna take forever. So I have a few points about the Bills that I just thought were fun because I talk about them so much that the main points really don't need to stick out to me that much. Just some minor details, and then for the rest of the teams that I talk about, it'll just be straight off the cuff, just exactly what I'm thinking about. But um, my first thought from the Bills that I took note of is Matt Barkley had the longest completion of the season for the Bills.
That's just great, and yeah, he was also on the field when they had the longest run of the season too. Correct?
I think so. I'm pretty sure that is accurate as well because I cannot think of a run that was longer than the one against the Broncos. No, yeah, I think you're right. Just for reference, that Matt Barkley pass, I think that's the one to Gabe Davis on the post route against Miami. I think that was a 56-yard touchdown, at least if it was that play. But Matt Barkley's long for the season was 56 yards, and Josh Allen's was 55. And I'm not even sure if the 55-yard one was a touchdown for Allen. So
I think that 55 yarder came against the Broncos
that's what
for Josh.
that's what I thought too. And then it just feels like we really like as a Bills fan while I'm watching that we utilize Lee Smith an absolute ton, like more like a little more than I'd like to see. And I just took note that somehow he only had 6 targets this season, and I swear he got at least 3 a game.
That doesn't sound only 6 targets. It feels like he was getting at least 3 targets a game.
Yeah, yeah.
That that's ridiculous.
Nope. Six targets all year long. And lastly, our D line was freaking atrocious. AJ Klein led the
Oh
team with 5 sacks. That's terrible.
yeah, and it's really sad because AJ Klein made like AJ Klein, right?
Yeah,
You
AJ
said.
Klein. Yeah,
Oh,
Klein
okay.
had 5 sacks.
Yeah. Okay. So the linebacker AJ Klein. At first I was gonna say Epinesa. I'm like I didn't hear his name at all, and he led the team in sacks. But no, AJ Klein did, and all of Bills Mafia had a bounty out for AJ Klein's head at the start of the season. He was just the most hated man in the city of Buffalo for the longest time.
Well, we gotta get used to you before we can really feel you. We're okay with you making plays.
I guess. But the Bills' passing game it's the Bills' passing game is exactly what Cliff Kingsbury wants his passing game to be like. It's what the Cardinals are striving to do, but the Bills don't have any run game, unlike the Cardinals, who just well, what last year they had the most
Yeah, I think
yards per
it. I
carry.
think it. I think it cooled off this year. This last year, it was the most efficient running game in the league, but this year it wasn't quite as much. However, I think it was still a highly ranked one in terms of efficiency, at least. Obviously, not like total yards or anything, but
Yeah,
efficiency. Yeah, yeah. The Bills really do need to get that portion of of that right, in that they're throwing the ball like crazy, just like the Cardinals are. But um, I mean, they're throwing the ball better than the Cardinals, but they're running the ball much worse than the Cardinals. If they could get their run game up to as effective as the Cardinals is, I mean, the offense at least would be unstoppable.
yeah. The Bills are I don't want to say a run game away because I don't necessarily think they need a run game. They are
They need a tight end too.
solid. Yeah, they are solid defense away from possibly winning that AFC Championship game. Probably not because Pat Mahomes was playing out of his mind. But
Yeah, I mean, they're only like in how I look at it, they're only like 5 positions away. So I mean, it's right there.
yeah, yeah, they're one draft away. If
Yeah,
every
one
single guy
one
they draft hits.
perfect draft away from being right there. Okay, we're 7 minutes in, so that means we're on an awful pace to talk about all 32 teams. So let's get to Miami. All right, they're 10-6. What do you think?
All right. Brian Flores looks like he's going to be a great coach, probably the best coach to come out of the Belichick tree. He looks like he actually knows how to lead a team, unlike every other guy that goes into a franchise and thinks that he is Bill Belichick and tries to get every guy to just rally around him, thinking that he's a proven leader. So I like Flores' approach of actually building a culture and having the guys rally around him and like him instead of just being a jerkwad.
Yeah, the Dolphins need to or sorry, don't need to do anything. The Dolphins just they're the way he's running it is so much better cuz he's not going the Matt Patricia approach of like I'm going all in everything Bill Belichick does as I'm going to copy him to like every point he's ever made. I'm going to copy everything. I am just going to go with what I like that he did, and I'm going to drop the stuff I don't like. And I think that honesty to your players can really help you get your message across a lot better than a lot of other people could. Because just selling yourself as somebody else, I don't think will ever work for a coach. And that's where Patricia fails and Brian Flores succeeds. He takes what he learns and actually uses it while putting his own uh, tricks to it. And yeah, and the other thing I want to say with these guys is, I mean, the Xavier Howard, that's
Mm.
getting double digit interceptions in a season nowadays. Not when it's like, not when it's like the 1960s or 50s or 40s or even the 70s still, like where the passing concepts are pretty simple. And I'm sure a lot of these teams are running the same passing concepts over and over and over again. So if you see it, you can read it, and they probably are just throwing to one specific guy on a play, and you can get an interception easily. And that's why our NFL record sits at what it's way above 10. It's like at least 14. It's somewhere between 14 and 18. I'm not sure what number it's sitting at exactly. But getting 10 interceptions nowadays is absolutely insane. Along with him having a ton of pass breakups, is tremendous. He's balling out of his mind. I mean, great season. I don't know. I mean, just in terms of like how well he played this season, it's nearly impossible to play that well again next season. But boy, that's like defensive player of the year type play. And I know he didn't get it. I can't. Who did get it? Tell me. You remember?
Aaron Donald.
Yeah,
Aaron Donald.
What am I thinking? Duh, he always gets it. Yeah, no, but those stats are just absolutely insane. And then sorry, one last thing for these guys is the quarterback stuff. That's just the weirdest thing that's ever happened in a season in terms of quarterback play ever. I mean, yeah, we're gonna go to the closer. It's like, all right, you're being innovative, but this is not the type of innovation I
Yeah.
think most people were like excited for.
Yeah, I don't understand in stunting a rookie quarterback's growth by saying, "All right, this is a big moment here, big drive. We're gonna pull you out and put the experienced veteran in to do something here instead of you learning." It just doesn't make any sense because that's what the whole rookie season is for. You're not really expected to go out there and win a ton of games. You're expected to learn, unless like you have a Mahomes type rookie season where you sat the whole first year and then you come in. It's like you should have done a lot of learning in the first season, and they just like, all right, Tua, you got us into a one-score game here. We're gonna put Fitzy out there and see what he can do. It just didn't make any sense to me for most of the season. Like they
That's
won, didn't make any sense though.
that's why they went 10-6 this year, but obviously coming into this season they weren't a known as a successful team in recent years. And if you can bring a young quarterback into a successful team or a team that was already successful rather than bringing them into a bad team, which is so often how it goes, where they have to play, this team kind of almost got to that level at the end of the season, though, where you could call them a good team. And I just I wouldn't have seen the damage to Tua had you decided that you were gonna go with Fitzpatrick every game this season. I really don't know if it would have hurt him that much, but I think actually by playing him, I think you're hearing a lot of backlash from a lot of people already, where he didn't even get 16 games in. Now that doesn't mean I'm a Tua fan, but even though I'm not a Tua fan, I think that just the idea that he could have sat a lot more would have just helped him.
Yeah, and then you got players in Miami now that are saying that Tua isn't the guy, and I don't know how you can say a guy isn't the guy if you haven't seen him play a full season. It just doesn't make any sense to give up on a guy that early.
No, it doesn't make sense. And especially if you've got like a general manager that picked him. I mean, if you get like a situation where somebody picks one guy and then the next year a new guy's in and it's like, okay, well, if that guy gives up on him, whatever. But yeah, there's no way they can give up on him because they still got the same guys in the front office. So they just gotta buckle down and hang on to him. Or I mean, maybe they get some insane trade offers from one of the teams that we're looking at with very good quarterbacks that may want to move them this offseason. And if that happens, I guess he could be on the block. But otherwise, we're just going to be looking at the fact that you're going to need to figure out what's going on there with Tua, whether you want him to relax for a season or if he's going to be the starter this season, just make him the starter. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. The AFC East just has a lot of quarterback questions. And speaking of quarterback questions, now moving on to the Patriots.
Yes.
Cam Newton looked absolutely phenomenal the first 3 games of the season. I remember you and I were on the phone when it was like the end of the Patriots Seahawks game, and New England was going on that drive to close out, and Cam almost won, and we were freaking out. We were like little kids watching that because we're like, oh my God, Cam is back. Cam is actually back, and we were pretty wrong about that.
Every time I see that play again, the last play of that game, I'm like, he had 2 rushing touchdowns already in this game. They had gotten down to the goal line. It had worked, but how did they not did they actually think Seattle was not going to sell out against the run on that last play of that game?
I I think that's just one of the things of Josh McDaniels getting giddy because he has a new toy to play with
It's just
because
like
he could never run with Brady, so he's just gonna try it,
we
and it didn't work.
we do not care about the fact that they know what we're going to do. We're just going to do what we like the best here. Not in terms of what the defense is doing. We're just going to do what we like the best.
Yeah,
It was,
that
I mean, yeah, I mean, it was. I think it was tough for everybody around, but I mean, I don't think. Who did they play week 3?
week 3
Do you have any idea?
was they played the Raiders
Okay, and then
and they
beat them.
they won that game, so that was like
That made them
everyone
2
still
and 1.
thought
Yeah,
2-1 at that point.
yeah, yeah. That I mean, I know what you mean. It's it's crazy, but I mean, it's crazy just how much of a drop off there was. And I realized they only went 7-9, but by the end of the year, it was like the Dolphins closed the year strong in the AFC East, and the Patriots did not. The Patriots did the exact opposite. They closed it basically almost as poorly as they possibly could have, and by the end of it, it was kind of just like a realization where it was like, okay, th- we were like, we were looking at this like, okay, they have Cam Newton. He's an MVP type player, and he plays the most important position on the field. So it's like, oh, they could still be really good. But we failed to realize that even when a player is at MVP level, they need like some sort of help besides themselves. And on
Yeah.
that offense, I mean, you got some good O-line pieces there, but I mean, a 33-year-old Julian Edelman as like the best option available by far is not anything that I am too attracted to.
Yeah, and Edelman didn't even play like half the season because he was hurt most of the year. So then he was cut down to Demir Bird and N'Keal Harry. So it's
Don't discount Jacoby Myers.
Jacoby Myers as well. So
Yeah.
he had those three guys basically for the meat of the season where they really needed to win games to try to get into the playoffs. And I don't think you could put anyone in that situation. Maybe, Mahomes, Rodgers in that situation where they could make something happen.
I mean,
Cam, at this point in his career, I think it's just really hard for him to have absolutely nothing and bring them to the playoffs.
you say that about the quarterbacks, but that team just
Oh, yeah.
did not have anything going
Yeah,
for it.
the defense was just absolutely ruined by opt-outs.
Yeah.
And which
Yeah.
I don't blame the guys, it's
The funny thing
choice.
is, though, with how COVID is going, you don't even know that could still be the same thing next season.
Yeah.
You could still end up next season with all those guys that opted out this season that would help you a lot. They may have opt-out options next season too if COVID is still around enough. I mean, I know we're looking at least 6 months away before that decision would have to be made, but just have to look at the potential. And if all those guys opt out again, I mean, they're going to have some real work to do in free agency and the draft to make this team much better, really.
Yeah. It's going to be rough for them if that happens. If they don't, then they obviously get some very strong pieces back to help, but still going to need to do a lot in the offseason.
And as for Cam, I have no idea where I'd want him to go. I mean, there are a ton of my immediate thought is always San Francisco, but San Francisco is the team that I think of in terms of like any quarterback who's ever shown any talent. I just feel like if you're decent enough, you could do well in San Francisco. So, I mean, there's a lot of places. I mean, we don't know what Denver's doing. Denver could be interesting. Who else do you got? I mean, you don't want to send.
I like the football team.
You don't want to
I
send
like
anyone to Houston.
I
Football.
like the idea of him going to the football team reuniting with Ron Rivera.
Yeah, that's interesting. I really don't think Ron Rivera is as interested in that as everybody else thinks he is.
Especially when he has Taylor Heineke. But
maybe here's an option. If Wentz leaves Philadelphia, then maybe you get him to come in and actually just straight up tell him you're the backup to Hurts. But I mean, then that gives you two quarterbacks to run that would be okay running a very similar system, and in terms of their play styles at least, like both running, yeah, just that aspect of it, both of them being able to play that type. And I think Cam would be a good guy for Hurts to talk to about what to do in his just in general.
Yeah, instead of having Wentz in that QB room complaining about everything since he's not playing.
Yeah. Well, Jets time.
Oh, it's Jets time.
Oh boy. Yeah. No, the Jets did you okay, you see the Raiders game, week 12
Hmm.
or whenever it is, and they score with like 5 seconds to go, Ruggs on that deep pass down the left sideline. They score. Is there any like thought in your mind at all that this Jets team is going to be able to win a game this season?
Not a single thought like that runs through my mind. I'm thinking at that point maybe I don't think they there were I don't think Greg Williams called in the play trying to lose because coaches don't try to lose. That's just what Greg Williams does. At the same time, I don't know how Adam Gase as a head coach doesn't say we are not calling that.
I still think Greg Williams was the best coach on that coaching staff, and then they got rid of him. And then they won 2 games somehow, but I don't think it was because of him. I don't think it was because Greg Williams was gone.
Yeah, but when that play happened, it was just like, oh, so these guys just don't want to win. And then the blowout against the Seahawks, the very next week after that, just oh, yep, it's over. They're gonna get Lawrence.
Yep.
And of course they shocked the world.
And then, I mean, the Rams should be used to being in LA all the time, but no, somehow they must have went out like clubbing that night and the night before that game because they were like, oh, there's no way we lose this one. And yeah, you did.
Yeah, I just don't get how they beat two playoff teams. It's so wild. Like that's just a team that wanted to win.
Well,
Wanted to win so bad.
Cleveland did have the weirdest.
No, yeah, I know. I'm not. That Cleveland game's very iffy because they
The,
had
the
no
LA
one.
the LA one's just
No,
embarrassing for the Rams, but the Cleveland one is just like, okay, they're gonna sell out against the run because what are we gonna do throwing the football here?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to. I mean, this team, it's just a lot of losses, and what do you say about a lot of losses? Like, it's just like the Patriots. It's like there's a lot of pieces I don't like. I like Marcus May. I like Jamison Crowder as like a second or third receiving option, not a first. And from there, it's like not really anything, not really anything else I'm too happy with.
Yeah, I. It's just, and they didn't even perfect the tank. That's the thing. So you can't even give them a pat on the back for that.
Well,
It's like, well,
I'm still not in love with Lawrence. I mean, didn't watch the pro day today yet because we'll be saving that for future analysis. But I mean, I don't even, I don't really care about the idea of tanking. I don't like tanking myself, but I don't. I all I'll say is that I would never actively engage with it, no matter what position I was in, whether I was a front office person, a coach, a player, like any position at all, an owner, like no matter what I was in, I don't think I would ever want to tank. And just the idea that people were like upset with them winning 2 games at the end of the season is just stupid to me. But at the same time, it is pretty clear to recognize why you would want that.
yeah, it's just the consolation prize at the end of the season, and the Jags just did it better. They sparked hope at the start of the season instead of sparking it at the end. That's where the Jets messed up.
Yeah, yeah, it, yeah. Well, remember Duval. Jags Twitter account did post after the first game. Not done yet, or whatever they said. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
Just getting started.
Yep, just getting started. Plenty of Jets stock. All right, Pittsburgh. That the worst 11-0 team to ever exist in the entire history of football.
Yep.
This team's greatness while being terrible only rivals like the 2010 Chargers. like there's elements that were so good here and yet so bad. They had like 3 receivers over 800 yards, and I mean, they didn't all reach 1,000 obviously, but those are pretty solid marks, and that shows some pretty solid balance. But you just have issues there with them not getting the ball down the field enough, which I think became obvious at the end of the season. The only time they really hit anything downfield wasn't really any like, oh, this guy's open. It was like, all right, Chase Claypool's running up the field. We probably could throw it to him, and I don't think it'll get intercepted at least.
Yeah. I don't want to say that the team as a whole put too much on Ben, because I feel like Ben put too much on Ben. I feel like he really, really wanted to be able to throw 50 times a game. And then when they're like, oh, well, we're going to incorporate the run a little bit here, he just, there was no point. And the offensive line didn't want to block for the run either. It was
I wouldn't say that.
Well, yeah, I know, but
that's a dangerous game you're playing. Saying that,
I know,
saying that NFL players don't
yeah,
want to
I know.
do.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant they were doing a terrible job blocking for the run.
Okay, fair. Yeah, it's fine to say they suck. Just don't like say that they're not trying.
It's just the Bills game against them. The Bills run defense was terrible. It was terrible all season. And then, well, I shouldn't say that because they had that good game against the Titans, held Derrick Henry to the least amount of rushing yards all season. But James Conner was just.
Bills did?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
Doesn't matter. We got killed by the Titans.
I know.
Don't make that a strong point.
I'm just you just gotta throw that out there. But James Conner was taking one step, running right into the offensive line, and then falling on the ground. He just wasn't even trying. I shouldn't say he wasn't trying. Yeah. It was a very poor outing for 3 weeks for the Steelers. Very poor outings for 3 weeks in a row for them. But the whole season was very poor outings. They barely beat the Ravens when the Ravens were playing with Trace McSorley and RG3. So,
well, yeah, I know. They got to 11-0, and like 8 of the wins were just like, oh my, like somehow 8 of their wins were just like spoon-fed wins. Like there's almost like something like either the team they were playing was just atrocious, or the team they were playing didn't have a quarterback, or just or other ridiculous injuries, and it was just like, could you literally have gotten the modified team of every of these NFL organizations in an easier manner, or what? They had like 2 decent wins, but yeah, it wasn't anything impressive. And I mean, I guess what's our like final thought on them? Like their record looks good in the end, but were we ever really? I think they're still pretty far off from being like in a serious conversation to get back to a Super Bowl or anything like that.
Yeah, they need to blow it up, in my opinion. It's just,
I don't know if they need to blow everything up. I do think they should get Juju out of the building, and I don't know I don't know what team would look at Juju after the season. And it used to be like you had a guy that was like a big show off. It would be like Terrell Owens or something, and it would be like, okay, he'll back it up with his play. But after Juju's rookie, maybe even second season, it's felt like that his play has really gone from like he was never at that great level, but like a good level, just to where it's like he's down to almost like at league average, and with him being league average, it makes it a lot less attractive to me to want to go after a player that is league average and definitely gonna cause a lot of commotion or disruption.
Yeah, yeah, and you could say that his production isn't great because he was like the third option on that team. I think he was third on the team in receiving yards. That doesn't mean he's the third option, but he
It basically does.
yeah,
May as well be.
yeah, he was third on the team
As
in
long
receiving
as
yards
there's
behind
not some
Deontay Johnson and Claypool.
As long as there's not some huge disparity in how many games were played. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's probably gonna be gone. I don't see the point in them bringing him back, especially if he's gonna command a lot of money.
But basically what I'm really asking you is like what team looks at him? Not in terms of Pittsburgh. I don't think Pittsburgh wants him back. What other team looks at him and is like, "Okay, what this guy offers is what we want."
The Raiders.
If the Raiders go through the Antonio Brown experience and then immediately sign Juju Smith-Schuster when the year before he leaves Pittsburgh he starts acting up, I will I in I don't know. I don't know what I'll do, but it just would be the craziest thing in the world. It would not make any sense at all.
I can't think of any other team. Yeah, I can't think of any other team that would deal with. I don't want to say deal with personality because there's a lot of players in the NFL that have personality, and those guys are beloved by their team. But
what was Emmanuel Sanders' deal with New Orleans?
It's like a 2-year deal. The contract's up.
He's still there. No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the contract's up.
Okay, well, if he's gone, maybe New Orleans. It's just like, all right, we got this great running back, and we're gonna have Jameis Winston, a quarterback at tight end, and Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yeah, well, if the
that
Saints
at least would be fun.
If the Saints can find enough money underneath all the couch cushions to pay for him, then maybe.
Yeah, I know. I just looked at I just looked at New Orleans right there on my screen and was thinking, man, that would be wild. No, I don't know who would want Juju. It just doesn't seem like whatever. I think he's gonna get a lot less money than he thinks he's gonna get. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, yeah.
And even then, the contract that he's probably going to get with that small amount of money is also probably going to have like tie-ins where it's like, you're if we want to, we can drop you at any time for like whatever they want to classify it as, conduct detrimental to the team, and then like if you have any if you do anything that's bad like that, then we can cut you and like not pay you anything for the rest of the year. That'll probably be in his deal too.
Yeah, I'm looking at a bunch of like cap situations for teams right now, along with rosters on my screen. The Lions, yeah, that's really like the only team I could see him going to.
They got a new wide receivers coach. Who is connected to Pittsburgh and Antoine Randall. So just saying, you heard it here first.
Juju just has to be ready to bite off some kneecaps. I think that's going to be the one thing. The kneecap clause in his contract, Dan Campbell's going to have him there. It's like you just got to be ready.
He did
bite
stand
off any kneecaps.
He did stand over Perfect that one time.
Yeah, Dan Campbell's kind of guy right there. Juju Smith-Schuster's going to the Lions. You heard it here.
It's done. Guys. The contract's already been made. Yes. Yeah. It's that simple. They're losing Galladay and Jones, both of them, aren't they?
Yeah, both of them have expressed that they want to go to the Rams to play with Stafford as well.
Okay, I wouldn't make it like that simple, just like they're going to the Rams. But
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they both want out of town.
They both have voiced that they don't want to re-sign with the Lions and that they want to go and play with the Rams.
man, you just feel bad for Detroit thinking about it. Like, just not even just in football terms, just in general terms. It's sad.
Yeah. But
I'm
moving on
sorry.
from one poverty franchise to another, the Cleveland Browns
Whoa,
had a
you
great
can't
season this
say
year.
that. You can't say that. This team is in a lot better situation than Detroit. You can't say that they're both poverty franchises.
If you would have let me finish, I would have said Detroit or Cleveland found themselves out of that moniker this season. They got rid of the Kitchens. They had too many Kitchens in Cleveland, so they got rid of Freddie and brought in Kevin Stefanski, Coach of the Year. Really turned that place around. Yeah, well, he won Coach of the Year. Didn't even win a playoff game as coach, but we'll ignore that.
Yeah.
Uh, Cleveland actually looked like a football team for the first time in a while. And it really sucks that OBJ was not there.
Okay, but
For
who?
the
Wait,
season.
hold on. Let me cut you off right there. Who looked more like a football team, the football team or the Cleveland Browns?
Well, when you have a name like the football team and the announcers say touchdown football team, you got to say the football team looks the most like a football team. But
Yes. Yeah. All right. Fair. Yeah. No.
the Browns is the Browns, man.
I
Browns is the Browns.
Jeez, let's stop talking about Juju. He's banned from the rest of this. Okay, at least today. Yeah, no. Baker Mayfield, guy I wanted in that. What was it? 2018 draft. 2018.
2018 draft. Yes, 2018 draft.
Yeah, guy I wanted. He's doing his job. He's not like going off like Josh Allen is, but he's doing his job. He's thrown what like his touchdown to interception ratio was really good this year. A lot better than a lot of other guys that I was looking at while I was looking at the stats for this season. So I mean, that's really good to see. And then they've got this insane run game with Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And I think Chubb is like one of my favorite players in the league. Because and the only reason I say that I even know that is because it's kind of sometimes it's easy to tell when somebody's your favorite player in the league or one of your favorite players in the league, but I think it may be because I feel when I'm watching Browns games that I actually get upset when Kareem Hunt enters the game.
Yeah, I agree. But the backfield as a whole is just great.
Oh, it's
And-
insane. It's super good. And that doesn't mean that Kareem Hunt is bad. It's just like I love watching Nick Chubb play football.
Yeah, and Kareem Hunt filled in great when Chubb was out for those couple of weeks too. They have the perfect back. It's not even I don't even want to say a complimentary backfield. Both guys can do everything, and
Yeah, but for some reason they want. I agree with you that both guys can do everything, and yet for some reason, whenever it becomes a passing situation and they don't want the running back to block, they want him to run routes, they always go to Hunt.
yeah,
I
noticed
don't
that too.
I don't get it. I don't know why. Is Chubb that bad? What is he like? Is he like Jonathan Taylor hands bad?
I have no idea.
Because I swear, whenever they throw him a screen pass, he's not juggling the ball or anything. I mean, maybe he's not mossing defenders, but
he had an 88.9% catch percentage this season.
on how
which
many
was,
targets?
18.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's
Kareem Hunt had 51.
percent
For
targets or
for
percent?
Kareem Hunt had 51 targets on 74.5%.
Okay, but his percentage was lower. Oh yeah, no, I don't. I mean, the sample size is obviously smaller, and the smaller the sample size is, the less reliable the numbers are. But I really can't believe that the coaching staff there is actually that sold on Kareem Hunt being that much better of a pass catcher than Nick Chubb is. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it's just one of those weird things that don't make any sense from people that watch. So
And they'd have to do a lot of explaining. Oh,
yeah,
Denzel Ward also like just still insane. And then Myles Garrett also, but I don't think I even need to say that. Everybody knows Myles Garrett is insane, but Denzel Ward is a freaking great player.
Yeah, that defense as a whole was great. How many turnovers did they have in that game against the Steelers playoff game?
I,
At
I,
least 5, right?
I mean, I, I think it was 5. I think it may
Yeah,
have been.
5. They had 5 turnovers.
Yeah. Okay. Well, turnovers are funny. Like you watch Tyrann Mathieu. Like I talked about him last time, and I think I said this, but it was just like he got like 6 picks this year, but he got 6 picks, and 5 of them were just tipped right to him like randomly. He's a very good player still, but it's just like turnovers. Turnovers can just be wacky sometimes. Sometimes there's plays made, but a lot of the times there could just be like, oh, boy, what was that? Like,
Yeah.
so that's why turnovers are hard to recreate and stuff like that. I mean, I still think Pittsburgh is my favorite defense in the NFL.
Yeah.
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 Just looking at it as a whole, like Pittsburgh is my favorite. But yeah. As for the rest of Cleveland's defense, um, not even really many other pieces of the puzzle I want to pick out. Uh, just they had a good year. They've got, I mean, besides like the key guys that we just picked out when talking about them, and I guess we didn't mention like uh Jarvis Landry or Rashard Higgins, Donald Peoples Jones, Austin Hooper, David Njoku. Like just there's just a ton of guys and that whole offensive line. They're just they got their team to a point where they've got a decent number of like superstar level players who I would say are like Nick Chubb, Ward, Miles Garrett. But then the key that's made them a lot better is the fact that they've got a lot of complementary players, and when you have a lot of complementary players, that's how your team will become um, a contender. Um,
Yeah.
because you can have Christian McCaffrey, but if you just don't have, you can have Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore and like in my opinion like 2 other guys that are also superstars. I don't know how I picked out the Panthers here, but they were just the team that came to mind. Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Brian Burns and Jeremy Chin, like all players that like I think are either on like a superstar level or even higher than that. And just like the rest of what's around them is just like probably not good enough to get the job done.
Yeah.
Whereas the Browns now they have like 3, 4, whoever you want to argue are the really top guys, really important guys. Like I guess Wyatt Teller, even based off how he played, would probably be on that level. Just getting those so that your 22 or however you want to interpret it, 33 starters or whatever you want to say, are all like 30 out of those 33 are quality players. That's when your team will be able to always compete with anyone, and I think the Browns are at that level now.
Yes. I am on the same train of thought that you are. I completely agree.
Now, on the other hand, the next team we've got here, which they came up with the same record as the Browns in Baltimore that went 11-5. Yet, I would not say that I'm like comfortable with 30 out of their 33 starters, because I would say like all their defense I'm comfortable with, like all their special teams I'm comfortable with, but yeah, that passing attack. Yikes.
Yeah. I think it's finally getting to the point where everyone is recognizing that Lamar Jackson is a weapon. Now, he isn't a gun. He can't shoot. He's not one of those kind of weapons, but Lamar is a very good quarterback overall. Throwing is the part of his game that he needs to improve, which is weird to say for a quarterback especially a quarterback that won the MVP. He needs to improve on throwing the ball.
I really am. I don't know what I said when they lost the game. Probably was in the playoff game specifically. once once the Bills beat them, they lost that game. I was probably more focused on talking about the Bills, so I can't remember what I even said about Lamar at the time to you. But now I'm just thinking about it, and I'm purely thinking about it from the perspective of who those receivers are and like what did Lamar do in terms of passing. Where was he just missing throws or what was going on? And I want to shift a lot of that blame to just like receivers, honestly, just like sucking. Just
Oh yeah.
just purely just sucking. And you can do what everybody wants to do where they say we've gotten to this point where I think a lot of people are looking at numbers tight ends put up and thinking that they are a lot better than they are purely because of their numbers. Because I don't, I really don't think that Mark Andrews is that out of world player that seemingly everybody else does. I think he's a good player, not I mean, but even then, like I don't think he's a high level good player. I think there's a lot of ways to get tight ends open on easier passing concepts than you can with receivers, mostly because they're a lot closer to the quarterback than the receivers usually are. And I mean, just simple fact here, cutting down the distance to make a throw is going to make a throw easier. So he's got those huge yards, but I really don't look at anybody on that team and say that they're like an they need a next level receiver. They need somebody like that. They probably need that guy and then like a solid number two still because the passing attack is just so lacking there. It's so far behind where it needs to be to make that team um a really effective team against playoff teams because when they play just a mediocre to bad team, they will beat the crap out of them because they can do the basics running the football and play actioning off of it to like a perfect level. But once they need to branch further off of that tree, um, and get into the situations where they just need it's like, okay, we're just calling a straight drop back here. Like they know we're throwing the ball, we're gonna do it here. It's like I don't think this is gonna work, and I don't think most people have confidence that it's gonna work. So, uh, they really need to figure that out.
Yeah, it especially watching that playoff game, it just seems like the Ravens have three when they have three receivers on the field. Those three receivers would be number 3 receivers on any other team in the NFL. But like Willie Snead is his number 1 option. And or you could say Hollywood Brown is.
Either way,
Those
it's not.
yeah, either way those guys should not be his number 1 receiver. And you could argue that the best receiver on that team was Dez.
I mean, he didn't even. I wish he got more snaps.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why he didn't get more snaps. It's not like the other guys were doing anything to keep him on the field.
Yeah,
It wasn't like, oh boy, these guys.
but no, when it comes to game playing, last season it was perfect for them because no other team has really seen an offense like that. But then they had a whole year tape on them, had more tape on them as it went through the season this year, and then the Bills just perfected it. It's like, okay, Lamar, if you're gonna throw the ball, make a play, and it's just really hard to do that when you have it, how J.K. Dobbins had that one that could have been a touchdown. He could have outrun everyone on the defense that had a touchdown, but it just hit him right in the chest and he dropped it. And I'm not saying J.K. Dobbins is bad. He's probably the best receiver on that team, but he has no one to throw the ball to. No one.
And what's funny is this team is still uh looking at the stats, just I mean, you basically can pick out anyone with a decent amount of carries on the team, and they're still, even though they got that tape that you mentioned, their average is running the ball. It's like all the running backs are still averaging like 5 yards a carry.
Yeah,
It
yeah. That
it's absolutely
it's
insane.
yeah. But it's really hard to win games running the ball.
Yeah. No,
Especially
I
if
mean
you're
not against bad teams. Not against bad teams. If you want
not
to
against
play,
bad teams.
if you want to play against a bad team, you can go ahead and run the football all over them.
It's hard running the ball and winning against teams that are good at throwing the ball, and or just good teams in general. I shouldn't say that because there are bad teams that are good at throwing the football, I guess. But it's just so they won that game against the Titans, but that was two teams that live and die by the run. So,
Ooh, no, do not say that about Tennessee.
uh,
Do not.
sorry, that
Don't.
Tennessee lives and dies by the play action.
You
It was good.
you look
Their
at
offense,
I know it's play action, but there's a they make a lot of plays throwing. They have a lot of plays where it's just straight dropbacks, and they'll go long on you, and they will catch it long on you, and it has nothing to do with the run game. Whereas Baltimore, I think I saw Baltimore hit like a straight drop back deep pass maybe once this season, whereas Tennessee can do it almost like once a game. Not even call it
eh,
off play action, just straight drop back. We're gonna throw the ball down the field and we're gonna hurt you.
yeah, but I think I shouldn't discredit it. I was mainly saying that more in terms of Ryan Tannehill, but I looking at the team as a whole, yes. But the receivers make there. I don't know how many plays I've seen or I saw last season of AJ Brown just being an animal.
I know.
But
We're gonna get to them soon though, and I'm excited to talk about him because,
yes,
yeah.
yes. But
Well, Baltimore, improve your pass game because also Marlon Humphrey, just
oh,
because we haven't talked about their defense at all. Marlon Humphrey is like my favorite defender in the entire league. He's what he does on a week to week basis. I do not normally like people talk about loving watching Jalen Ramsey. I love whenever I'm watching the Ravens defense to stare at Marlon Humphrey the entire time and see what he's doing.
yes, he is one of the best corners in the NFL. But that's not even a controversial thing to say. But the same thing with Ramsey. I don't know. I do understand how people could sit and stare at Ramsey play because there are times where I sit and stare and watch offensive linemen block on offensive plays. But Marlon Humphrey is just so much more fun to watch. He is just a pest,
It,
and it's fantastic.
I mean, he's good at everything, and that's what makes him so fun to watch. Uh, I guess we talked about their offense probably a little too long, but I mean, also the other thing I gotta say about their defense is their defensive line has a ton of names on it, but they did not get nearly enough pressure this season that they should have. They have a lot of guys on that D line to not be creating as much havoc as they should have been from that defensive line.
I agree. That it's the same thing. They have names, but they don't have like production.
Meanwhile,
And
I don't think they're I don't think their linebackers have as much of names, but I think their linebackers actually play pretty well. And depending on the team you're looking at, it's kind of fun to. I realize a safety is not a linebacker, but it's kind of fun to bunch some of these safeties in as linebackers. Like um, Poyer almost plays like a linebacker for the Bills, and then just I don't know if I watch it enough to say for sure where Chuck Clark lines up for the Ravens, but just looking at his statistics, his stats look like he's a linebacker too. Him, Bowser, and Queen are all playing pretty well, and if you count them in terms of my terms saying that they're linebackers, I would say that their linebacking core is pretty solid while not as well known names. Where their D line has a bunch of well known names, they were lacking the names that are kind of not there in the linebacking department. Really played pretty well this year.
I agree. I agree. And while a unit on the Ravens played well, we should talk about a team as a whole that did not play well. That being the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, I mean, not playing well. I mean, that's an opinion. I mean, I don't know about you, but if they were 4-12, I may consider calling them bad. But they went 4-11-1, so
Yeah, that tie against the Eagles really sealed the deal for me, cementing them as a good team instead of a bad
I say
team.
mediocre team instead of a bad team.
I
No, I
mean they
mean,
did beat the Steelers.
they I think I I don't think how should I say this? I don't know. Well, I mean, I said that this team, after starting 0-3 in 2019, was gonna finish the season 8-8, and what did they end? 2-14. So I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know why, but I'm just a little more. I used to hate the Bengals, but now I'm kind of like, geez, I'm kind of like a little bit of a fan of theirs. I don't know. I really like Joe Burrow. Also, I think AJ Green's going to be leaving this offseason. And T. Higgins was the leading receiver for this team last year. And I don't think I was surprised by that because I mean, you obviously don't see the Bengals on like primetime television too often, but I really still love Joe Burrow. So having him there is going to make this team exciting to watch always. That receiving core is very good. One of the reasons I'm excited for AJ Green leaving is because I really like Tyler Boyd, and I really like shoot, now I'm blanking on one of them. Who is it? Who is it? T Higgins. Sorry, I already said his name, but I just forgot. I like both of them. But another guy I really like who lost his snaps because those were the top 3 this year is Auden Tate. And if they get AJ Green out, you have to play AJ Green if he's on his roster. But you get Auden Tate back in there, I think they can really get something going with them and Joe Burrow. And then obviously they have sorry, they have Giovanni Bernard and Joe Mixon still in the backfield. So I think Giovanni's a great receiving weapon, and Joe Mixon is still like a good running back. I just think the offensive line is kind of a question here. And then the issue with this team, and probably why they lost a lot of their games, besides maybe some offensive line issues, is really that the defense is pretty lackluster. Jesse Bates the third is one of the best safeties in the league, though I will say that. But besides that, there needs to be a lot of help on this defense. And really, just thinking about it, like I'm just having trouble coming up with names even on that defense.
Yeah. During the off season, they just loaded in a bunch of guys that wanted a lot of cash and brought them in. Uh, DJ Reader is one of them. Mackenzie Alexander is another. Guys that were just commanding a lot of cash. They brought them in, and those guys had like no production. It feels like,
Yeah,
and
Mackenzie Alexander. Geez, I now that you say that, I do remember him signing, and now that I'm thinking about it, then I remember it being like a lot of cash and just being like, oh, he's worth that much? Okay then.
yeah, it. But like you said, Jesse Bates the third is a absolute stud. Von Bell as the other safety complements him very well. They're both the two best players on that defense. Well, you could say Carl Lawson had a decent year, and also well, Geno Atkins barely played, but Geno Atkins is also gonna be great wherever he is. So
Yeah.
there's that.
I mean, are you looking at some of their team right now? I mean,
Yeah, I'm looking at their defensive stats.
I'm just like, who are their linebackers? Did Vigil leave? I can't even
Uh,
remember who their linebackers are. I
just top stat getters, Josh Bynes, Jermaine Pratt, and Logan Wilson.
Yeah, Bynes, I remember. Good lord, the other two though, like, come on, you're gonna need something else besides that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I can't necessarily say that they're terrible because I don't know their names, but I mean, that's not knowing names is sometimes ugh.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, oh, you find out a name and it's like, okay, this guy, who is he? Like, what's he doing? But no, like, none of those guys have been doing anything. So
Yeah. This team will be solid with Joe Burrow.
they'll be able to score points.
Yes, they will be
If-
able to score points. With
If
Joe
the
Burrow.
offensive line can hold up, this team will be able to score points. The only problem is that I think they're gonna get they're gonna get they're just gonna get worked down the field because I mean you got Bates and Bell like you said, so I mean hopefully that means nobody's really gonna be going over the top of you too much because you got some good safeties, but I think they're just gonna pick you apart with how basically weak everything else is on that team, and this team is probably if this team goes 7-9 or 8-8 next year, I think it's an extremely successful season for the pieces they've got at this point. At this point, for what they're carrying over, I mean, maybe something crazy happens in the offseason. It's just like, holy crap, the Bengals got loaded. But I mean, I think if this team finished 8-8 next year, especially in the division they're in, they would have to be ecstatic.
Yeah, and just real quick, I want to give a lot of love to Ryan Finley. That dude is an absolute baller. He's not getting the love he deserves because Brandon Allen came in there and also Taylor Heineke just did his thing in the playoffs. But Ryan Finley, that one game against the Steelers, played out of his mind. Didn't play well, but he played out of his mind.
Didn't play well. Alrighty, well, let's talk about Indianapolis.
Yeah, the Colts.
They're gonna run the
they-
ball.
Yes, they are. They're going to run the ball a
Prob-
lot next
probably
season.
gonna run the ball more than this season.
Yes.
And
It,
when they're not running the ball, they're probably gonna throw the ball to Nyheim Hines
Mm-hmm.
and not Jonathan Taylor.
Yep.
And the defense is good.
Darius Leonard is a stud. He is so good. He just the playoff game against the Bills, he was the only I shouldn't say only reason.
He stands out like a sore thumb
Yes.
in every Colts game you watch. If you
Yes.
watch a Colts game and you don't take note of Darius Leonard, then you must not be watching the game, and you must just be like at a party, like, and talking to your female friends or something. I don't know. Because Darius Leonard does stick out like a sore thumb whenever you're watching a Colts game.
Yes.
He's
DeForest Buckner,
dominant.
too.
Dominant.
Yeah. Him and
Buckner
DeForest-
is too. Buckner holds down the up front like just extremely well, and then I mean the thing that's crazy about Darius Leonard, even though you kind of wanted to get to DeForest Buckner. Sorry, I'm gonna go back.
No, it's fine.
It's just that Darius Leonard can literally do whatever you want him to do, and because of that, that's what makes him such an amazing weapon. Like, he can play the edge, he can contain, he can rush the passer, he can play pass coverage. He's like the perfect linebacker you could ever want, and that's what makes him so good. Okay, you can talk about DeForest Buckner.
Forrest Buckner, basically what you just said about Darius Leonard, he is such a force on the D line. It seems like teams just are. He is what a lot of people think Aaron Donald is. He is such a disruptor. He just draws so much attention when you have to block for him, and it is amazing.
You see, the thing I like about DeForest Buckner is the fact that when you've got like, you can have a defensive lineman that is just like really good, and it's like, oh, that's cool, and it's like, yeah, it's Aaron Donald, he's really good, and he's just like, he's about the same size as the offensive lineman, but then it's like, well, you got DeForest Buckner out there, and potentially he's like a half a foot taller than some of the O linemen he's going against, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah, he is huge. He is gigantic.
That's a unit.
Yeah. He
It's
he
just
is
like an intimidation factor that's on top of it. And
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it, that it's crazy to say, but I mean, those two alone kind of make that defense. Um, I don't know. Is there like two players on a defense anywhere else besides LA that just can single handedly make a defense that good?
No. Those guys made the defense what it was.
I mean,
And
who else do you think about when you look at Indianapolis on defense?
uh
I mean, I don't
the only
Kenny Moore?
the only as soon as the first name that popped in my head is Bobby Okereke, and that's just because he had those fumble recoveries against the Texans. Though those two different
Did he
games
get
against
both
the
of them?
Texans, yeah, he recovered
Oh
the ball
my
both times.
gosh. Oh,
So
that is lame. Oh, that is stupid.
So he's the other guy that pops into my head.
Yeah. No.
Looking at the roster, Justin Houston is there too. It feels like he should be 89, but he didn't do a lot. He
No.
forced a fumble, but
No, but you know what's fun about this team? This team in Baltimore. I would absolutely love to get like a wild card weekend game next year between Indianapolis and Baltimore, where Indianapolis goes to Baltimore and it's just like the worst weather we've ever seen. And because it lends to both team styles of football, so it's just like you have to run the ball the entire game and play defense, and I would just love to watch that. I know everybody else loves watching points getting scored, but I would love just a snowball between Baltimore and Indianapolis next season where nobody can score. They just have to keep trying to run the ball into each other.
yeah, that would be fantastic.
That'd be fun. But I mean, you got a lot riding for this team on what happens with the quarterback situation next season. I think if Jacoby Brissett is your quarterback next season, then you're happy with the 9 wins. If you can figure out anything else at the quarterback position, then maybe you can peak that up to like 12 wins if you have like a really good year, depending on who that guy is. But I mean, I think this team is really got some big question marks for the off season, and then that's why it really leaves a lot of it still up in the air. And I mean, I guess they had a good season for what they did here, but still want a little more with
Yeah. Yeah.
they've got a good roster. Do I believe that though? Like they have a good roster, but I almost feel like they exited where they should have. They need a quarterback back in that building that is a game changer. And I don't think Phillip Rivers was a game changer, but he was a competent quarterback, and I think if you keep a competent quarterback, you're looking at wild card or divisional round weekend each year. If you have less than that, you're probably going to miss the playoffs, but if you have more than that, that's where this team is finally going to become in contention. But if not, they're probably out of contention still.
Yeah. It was really tough to see them go out. I know they played the Bills, but Phil Rivers played the best game of the season.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe in his like last 3 seasons.
It literally was like, yes, I don't think that enough people, I guess Bills fans may know. I mean, even Bills fans probably don't know it, but that, yes, I completely agree with you. That was one of the best games I have seen Phillip Rivers play in years. And it was
Yeah.
If I wasn't a Bills fan, I would have been really saddened seeing that ending just with how well he played in that game.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Tennessee,
Derrick Henry, he's good at football.
yeah, he's kind of good at football. You know, he's just got that DeForest Buckner offensive thing where it's like, oh crap.
Yeah. I gotta tackle that guy.
Well, I mean, it's like the D linemen and the linebackers aren't really like that too much. I don't think they're intimidated by it. The issue arises that he is strong enough to break away from those people, and then once he hits the secondary, I don't think there's anybody that's prepared to tackle him in the secondary.
Yeah, it just he's a tank.
The
He
strength to break through the initial barrier of people that are just as strong as you, and then um just the fear that is created once you run into the guys that are smaller than you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just tough. Um, is AJ Brown the best receiver in football?
I wouldn't argue with someone if they said that. It he is so good. He is so good.
I
And
I don't think before today I would have said that, and then I told you I just like for this because I didn't want to go too in depth, even though we're already at a ridiculous amount of time in, and we're gonna be talking for a lot longer. Um, I did watch, like I said to you, the top 100 plays of the season, and I think AJ Brown appeared on that list maybe 5 or 6 times.
yeah,
And
it seemed like every time that I watched a Titans game, every ball that went up in the air, he was making a play.
well, I mean, you just go on your fingers, like okay, one, like is just just like random receiver talents that we love. Like, is he fast? Yeah, he's probably like one of the fastest receivers in the league. Two, um, can he just catch consistently when he's open? Yes, I haven't seen any issues with him dropping balls. Um, Three, can he catch in coverage? Yeah, he catches the ball when he's like double covered. Like he'll figure out a way to make the catch. Four, can he out jump you? Yes, he can out jump you. So that's more catch and traffic stuff. Five, when it's just some ridiculous throw that it's like, is it even possible to make that catch? Can he stick one hand out and grab it? Yes. It's just like there's no part of it where it feels like you're missing a component of his game. Where it's like a lot of other guys finding are really good receivers by doing one thing really well. I just think AJ Brown is so good at everything that just I don't the Titans offense wasn't bad, but I mean if you got him in like the Chiefs offense, say, I just think there wouldn't even be a question. He would probably easily be like, yes, this is the best receiver in the NFL by far.
Hmm. Yeah, he is. Everyone says that DK Metcalf is what it would be if you made a wide receiver in a lab. You could argue that that's
Oh
AJ
jeez,
Brown.
I didn't even talk about the fact that he runs just about as hard as Derrick Henry does.
Yeah,
Because Andy, I mean, not only that, but he's got like open field ability, and like, okay, I'm gonna carry six of you into the end zone when you start tackling me at the 10 yard line, and we're gonna find our way in.
yeah.
It
He
it's wild. It's crazy. Because we got our Devonte Adams of the world, who are like route running, and just getting perfect ball placement from Aaron Rodgers, along with like having schemed for so long that they can just run him horizontally back and forth and snap the ball once the corner gets out of position enough to throw him it immediately to guarantee a 5 yard gain. And then we've got um, AJ Brown, just insane in every regard. Like he could do whoever the best receiver on your favorite team is, AJ Brown could do all that and more. That's basically what you can say.
yeah, yeah. He is so good.
It's insane. Um, Besides them, I mean Tannehill, just like Baker, the touchdown to interception ratio is absolutely tremendous. I think the offensive line is still playing extremely well for this team. And on the defensive side of the ball, I think they got a lot of solid pieces. That I don't think they got any like superstars anymore where maybe they
Oh,
used to. They just got a lot of good talent. Like I said with the Browns earlier, they got a lot of good players overall. The the Titans got all their superstars on offense, but then their defense is also still just across the board solid team. So, um, I think this team had a good season this year, but you didn't want to see them exit first round, and I think expectations for next season would probably be just as high, if not higher.
Yeah, especially seeing how much AJ Brown is just showing out as a stud receiver. They and Corey Davis, I think his contract's up, so I don't know if that will hurt or help AJ Brown if he leaves. So there's that.
Yeah. All right,
Uh,
Houston.
Houston, sure.
Yeah. No, I mean this I didn't think it was gonna go this poorly. At least I don't think I did. I can't remember what I said. I know had all my record predictions before the season, but I can't imagine that I said 4-12 for the Texans.
Uh, we both thought at the start of the season that they should have at least been in the conversation to get the wild card spot because everyone was ranking them like second or not second, third in the division.
Yeah, because
Everyone was.
everybody said the Colts were like the best team by far, and I still don't see that. I don't see how the Colts are guaranteed to be better than Tennessee. I think Tennessee is still a better team than Indianapolis.
Yeah,
I
but
still I still think that, but yeah, keep talking. Sorry.
it just Houston may take over the Factory of Sadness moniker from the Browns after like everything that's going on now and that went on last season.
It's
Just
pretty. It's
it is
it's very
it
tough
is
because
yeah,
I
it
don't think that the I I had no thought that the Texans would just drop off a cliff just from losing DeAndre Hopkins. I didn't think that that was possible. I thought, okay, this guy's good. Maybe it swings their record a game, maybe 2 games. But they
yeah.
lost 12 games this season. And they still had a lot of guys in that receiver room that were names we know.
Mm-hmm.
That the rest of the team, I guess it just shows that in this league where throwing the ball is this important, that having a number one receiver and a number one quarterback is so big. Because, I mean, I think that honestly, with what's going on with Deshaun Watson and the fact that he is potentially leaving this offseason, I mean, more than likely leaving this offseason just based off how he's been approaching everything. I know the Texans say they still want him, but I don't think that means much. I think Deshaun can do what he needs to do to get out of there if he really doesn't want to play there. I think this team um, is seriously should be in fear of losing like every game, or if not at least 14 games next season without Deshaun Watson, because he
Yeah.
alone was the reason they were in a lot of games or winning games that last season. It was just the rest of the team is just all over the place, and JJ Watt's headed out too now.
Yeah. Well, I was looking through like stats the other day and I saw something that really piqued my interest and just showed how valuable JJ Watt is to that team. JJ Watt had 1/3 of that team's interceptions.
How many interceptions did he have? 2?
He had one.
Oh my
The team only had
gosh.
3
The
picks
team
all
had
season.
3 interceptions all season. Oh my goodness
And his pick
gracious.
was a pick six.
Yeah, I remember. I saw that one against Detroit earlier.
It's
Yeah,
just
I didn't. I don't think.
ridiculous.
Yeah, with COVID and Thanksgiving this year, I didn't even get up for that first game on time, knowing that it was Lions Texans. But I got up and I was finally watching it by halftime, and I remember seeing that play and being like, oh, that's cool. Too bad neither of these teams much mattered in this season.
Yeah, it just is
The
disgusting to
I
see
mean, just yeah.
a team like the Texans win half their games against the Jags and
Yeah.
have a top 5 quarterback in the NFL in Deshaun Watson, top 4 quarterback in the NFL in Deshaun Watson, and
Yeah.
that is what they pull off.
Yeah, I guess the real key that I should have been saying in the thing about them being 0-16 or only winning 2 games is they could potentially get to 3 games if they get a quarterback that's like 3/4 the value of Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
They
well,
could get up to 3 wins.
They have AJ McCarron on roster, so
Oh, I did see that. That's a relief.
they could just if they don't trade him and Watson sits out, they do have AJ McCarron.
Yeah. I mean, we've been talking about other players for all these other teams, so I guess we probably shouldn't only talk about the 2 guys that are leaving their team. The one guy on this team I will give props that is most likely still going to be on the team next season is Brandon Cooks, because no matter where Brandon Cooks goes or Brandon Cooks plays, he will always put up basically a 1,000-yard season.
Yeah, it's hilarious, and well, they need to trade him because it's just gonna be perpetual at that point. He's been what 4 seasons and he's been traded 4 times.
Yeah.
5 seasons been traded 4 times, something like that.
I mean, he basically switches teams every year. It wouldn't make any sense for him to go back to Houston.
Yeah. So
I say I don't like tanking, but I mean, geez, if you got 50, I don't like tanking, but if you have 52 players on roster that you're like, I don't think we're going to keep these guys for the future, and you have one guy that you're like, oh, I think we'll keep him for the future, I think you're kind of just being a scumbag keeping that one guy that you're like, we're guaranteed to give you like 4 losing seasons consecutively before we may have a shot at winning. So, I don't know.
We're going to send you out there to just get pummeled every week.
Because you're the only one that we know is any good on this team.
We need to look like we're trying. So instead of getting rid of you, we're just going to send you out to be feasted upon.
I mean, answer me this. Is there anyone on the defense I'm missing? It's like,
No. Is Whitney Merciless still there? That's the only other guy that comes to
literally
my
what I
mind.
was going to ask you.
Oh, Zach Cunningham. He's
a mediocre player that looks good on their team. Gets a lot of tackles because he's on the Texans.
Yeah, and Whitney Merciless didn't even have a good season. He played 13 games. So,
well, don't say that because he got hurt. That's not his fault.
Well, I don't know if he got hurt or not. It's the Texans.
He
They
just
could have
played
benched him for 3
He
games.
just played 13 games because he didn't want to play the other 3. Oh, man. All right. Let's keep rolling, Jacksonville.
They did it. At the start of the season, we didn't think they'd do it. They won that first game. Really had everyone scared. But they did it.
How did that happen?
What, the win?
Yes. How did that happen?
That's just Pat McAfee spoke it into existence when he.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I remember. He's like, Phil. He's talking to Phil Rivers. And he's like, "You guys are gonna go out there and kill him." I'm like, hey, dude, you're talking to a guy who still has to go out there and play the game. Don't say that. You're literally like, and he's not only is he saying that, he's saying stuff like, "There's no way you're gonna lose," and it's like, dude, it's still NFL players. You can never say that. Like, you have to just realize that that's not anyone wants to hear. And that's not anything anyone wants to hear while they're being interviewed. That was a bad interview. And I mean, I think maybe you're right. Maybe that is why the Jags won that game, because they shouldn't have won that game. But I mean, geez, if I was interviewing an NFL player, I would never be like, you're going to blow these guys out this weekend. There's no way you lose.
Yeah. So Jacksonville gave us that, and they also gave us the best Thursday night game of the season. Those were the 2 things that they bestowed upon us.
Whoa. Did they
You
play
did
a
not like?
Did they
you
play
didn't
a
like,
second Thursday night game that I do not?
No, they played against the Dolphins week 3. Minshew versus Ryan Fitzpatrick was fantastic.
Isn't there a point in that game where they're like down like 3 scores in the 4th quarter?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. Don't worry. I was just asking. We'll leave that discussion for later. No, but these guys still got a lot of these guys still got a lot of receivers that I like, and they got their nice James Robinson, correct? That's the running back's name.
Yes, James Robinson.
Yeah, he's a good RB. I like him. Um, I think that you're looking at the wrong Washington State quarterback when you say that Gardner Minshew is the best quarterback on roster. I think that there's a guy out there from Washington State that you probably could go get for not much capital at all. In what's his first name? Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon. He's probably a quarterback I'd bring into that quarterback room to challenge those guys. But I mean, as for the skill, I was just saying for the skill position players on offense, I really like it. Obviously, the quarterback is not anything exceptional. I don't think the offensive line, and geez, I don't even know if I could pick a name off the offensive line. Yeah, yikes, that's probably not that great of a unit. That could probably use some help. And then on the defensive side of the ball, though, the one thing I have to say is they did pick my two favorite players in the draft on my two favorite defensive players in the draft the past 2 years. So I'm still going to be hopeful for those two guys. But as for how they've actually been playing on the field as a defense as a whole, obviously that defense has not been that intimidating. But Josh Allen and what's his name? LSU linebacker number 18. Caleb Von Chason.
There we go.
Yes, those two guys I still have a lot of hope for, and I will like to see them play a lot more in the future. Josh Allen had his season cut short this season because he got injured. It maybe even more than one time. I don't know. Maybe it was only once, but he missed a decent number of games. So still holding out hope for those guys, but not much to show on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I really think the problem with the Jags was they went into the offseason, they signed Joe Schobert. And
Dude,
Joe Schobert,
oh my gosh, no. Hang on. You're right. I do love Joe Schobert. Joe Schobert is the most underrated player in the league, and he's so underrated that even when I'm talking about the team he's on, I can't even remember that he's on the team. He is a great player.
Yeah. No, Joe Schobert's fantastic, but I feel like he has that Cleveland hex on him. So no matter where he goes, that team's just not going to be able to win games.
He knew what he was doing when he signed in Jacksonville. Joe Schobert may just be a really smart guy and be like, I want to make as much money as possible while I'm in the league, but once I get out of the league, I want to make sure that nobody knows my name. So he's gonna play for like all these crappy teams his entire career, and he's gonna make a ton of money. And when he's gonna get out, he's never gonna have paparazzi following him all over the place.
Yeah. He's so good. It's so terrible that he's going to these teams. And if I remember correctly, when he signed with Jacksonville, he said, I want to go here to win football games. And then when they won week 1, he said, I've never known what it was like to win week 1, because he never won week 1 in Cleveland before. He always lost since he was drafted.
And proceeded to lose 15 straight.
Lost the rest of the season.
Oh boy, that is terrible. Poor Joe Schobert. I'm sad. I'm actually upset with myself that I forgot him initially. He seriously is. He's just like Darius. He actually is like very similar to Darius Leonard in that he doesn't play the outside linebacker position though. He's on the interior, but he does just almost anything you could ask him to do at an exceptionally high level. I love him.
Yes, he is so good.
Those versatile, any sort of versatile linebackers are players that I love. And I mean, that's another reason that I think Tampa Bay won a Super Bowl this year is because they got some pretty freaking versatile linebackers.
Yes. But moving on.
Kansas City.
From the worst team in the NFL to record-wise the best team, the Chiefs. They lost in the Super Bowl. And we talked about that on Monday, or last episode, and they
Yeah, I don't know.
They're great.
We
They're great.
we
But
we aired a lot of things out with them. I mean,
yes,
I just think that that pass rush got to them, and I think they need to look at their O line, and um, if they're not adding to their O line, probably add to their defense, because we know that all the skill positions on offense are good. So
yeah,
yeah,
that offense is phenomenal, and Patrick Mahomes is great.
Jim
It's
Nance and
just
Tony Romo said it all. Ooh
yes.
ah ooh
I
ah.
I don't want to steal any of their thunder. So, uh, everyone knows that they're good. It's not a secret. Uh,
Yeah.
them bringing in Le'Veon Bell is hilarious. I thought that was so funny when that happened.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't know. Just stick with the young running backs. What do they even need? What's up with these Super Bowl winning teams like wasting cap space signing old running backs? Just keep young running backs. Young running backs are cheaper and they'll probably do just as well. Like Kansas City having Bell and Tampa Bay having LaShawn McCoy. Like there's no reason. Like Fournette it was the number one back for Tampa Bay. That's fine, along with Ronald Jones. And to be fair, also the other thing here about Fournette is Fournette isn't that old, but having LaShawn McCoy there just doesn't make any sense. And Kansas City adding Lev Bell when they have Clyde Edwards-Helaire and the playmaker, it just doesn't make any sense.
yes, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's just, I think that's just, I don't want to say it's Andy Reid because the front office makes those kind of decisions, but one of those things where, ooh, a weapon. I'd really like that.
We have another one. We have another weapon, and
Yes.
that's basically what we got for Kansas City. I mean, everything's been said about him, right?
Yeah, there's not an original thought we can have about Kansas City that hasn't already been said. They are just so good, and they didn't win the Super Bowl. That's all that there is.
And if you're still listening this far in, props to you. Also, we just talked about Kansas City for like at least a half hour on the last hour and 20-minute first episode of the podcast. So I think you could probably go check that out if you really want to hear more thoughts about Kansas City, right, Jake?
Yes, I agree.
Okay, Las Vegas.
Oh, Las Vegas. John Gruden is the most fun head coach in the NFL. Maybe Bruce Arians is taking that now since he runs Tampa Bay like a frat house. But John Gruden is the most entertaining guy to watch on the sidelines and listen to interviews of. He is the best.
I 100% agree with you, just so you know.
It, and if he could just find a way to get his team to win more football games,
Yeah,
it is going to be great.
no one violates league protocol, pulls their mask down, and spits all over referees' faces better than Jonathan Gruden does.
Oh yeah, there's just one rule that the NFL. Well, they put multiple rules in place, but hey, coaches, just gotta leave that mask on. All right, don't pull it down, leave it on. John Gruden, week one. They had a primetime game week one, didn't they? Monday night against the Saints,
no,
or was that week two?
no. I think. Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure.
No,
I'm
it was
pretty
week
sure
two.
that was week two.
Week two.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
that's
week
week
two.
two.
But week two, the 1-0 Raiders are on display against the Saints, who are also 1-0, just beat Tampa Bay. And John Gruden's out here spitting on everyone in his proximity, ripping that mask off. It's fantastic. He's fantastic.
There's nothing quite like putting that on display.
Ah, he's so good. And his team. I don't want to say the team is like him because the team isn't. I don't want to say fun to watch. They're a good time. They were the best time when Marcus Mariota was out there.
Yes.
But
Yes. And that's
they they utilize their fullbacks out here jumping over guys, and Josh Jacobs is telling people that he isn't playing just to mess with their fantasy teams on social media. It's fantastic. I don't know another word to describe this team besides fantastic. Like Derek Carr isn't a fantastic quarterback, but he is a perfect John Gruden guy. He just is there.
I mean, we do have to point out the fact here with this team is that one of the things that makes them so fun to watch is the fact that you really don't know what you're going to get on a week to week basis.
Oh, yes.
And that's why being a fan of this team would suck, but like just watching them for pure fun is great. I mean, and it makes sense why they ended up with an 8-8 record with that sort of mindset behind it. But I mean, this is a team that did straight up beat the real version of the Kansas City Chiefs last year. One of two teams, the other being Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. Not counting that Kansas City lost to LA, obviously. But yeah, I mean, you just don't know with this team. They've got tons of weapons. I mean, they've got Aguilar as their vertical threat, Ruggs too. Ruggs is also a vertical threat, so they got two vertical threats. Waller can work short, intermediate, and even get down the field because he's a fast tight end. And then you got
so
Jacobs. Jacobs running a power run game that is insane. I mean, he's I love him as a back. He's up there with Chubb as one of my favorite backs to watch.
Yeah. Like that team was just composed of like they had old man Jason Witten for no reason on that team. He was just out there to block and he caught like two he was their Lee Smith.
Yes. Yes, it was like, why is this guy in the field?
Yeah, there's no reason for him to be on the field, but when he was on the field, he was catching touchdowns. So, it's great.
Yeah.
And Nathan Peterman's also on that roster too, which is just blows my mind.
Did you see he caught that extension, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he
Just
did.
got extended. They like him. Yeah, that's even more reason to believe that Mariota may get traded. And then I there's a few guys on defense that I also really like for them. You got John Abram, who I really like, and Max Crosby. Both of those two guys on defense are guys I really like. I think you're still looking at a defense that could probably use a pretty decent amount of overhaul, though, to really make that team a lot better. And then just like a lot of teams, you've got a quarterback that works, but if you found a quarterback that was a step above, you'd be a lot better.
Yeah, they it's their defense is really good, but like they need overhaul. And Jonathan Abram is out there playing like a human bullet. He's just taking dudes' heads off with some of the hits. Like I don't know how he's getting away with some of the hits he does without getting fined. I love it because they aren't dirty hits. He just hits dudes hard, and it's great to see that. But yeah, Jonathan Abram, Max Crosby, Cleveland Farrell. He had a decent season as well. I watched a couple Raiders games. I wasn't going out of my way to watch Raiders games, even though they are fun. But every time I watched, he made a play. I don't know if that really translated throughout the whole course of the season, but he was there.
That's good. Do you remember what I told you about Cleveland Farrell?
Yeah, he went to kindergarten with your cousin.
Yeah. Isn't that
Yeah.
great? What a great story. I know I indirectly may know one NFL player, kind of, sort of. No, I don't. All
Me and
right.
Cleveland Farrell are like this. We are
Yeah.
tight.
Yeah, right there. Yep. All right. Is that enough for the Raiders? I mean, I don't know. I don't.
think so.
Should we say how we think they're going to do next season? You know, honestly, if they keep running the same way that they've been
I think
running, I'd
8-8 's a
expect
good
8-8 again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chargers.
The Chargers, they are an anomaly. Anthony Lynn, I don't want to say it's his fault.
No, it was his fault.
Dude, he mismanaged clock a lot.
If you cannot figure out how with no timeouts and 20 seconds left in the half to either give your offense like a play call and make it very clear to them how the play needs to be run throughout the week and in the moment, to make sure that the clock doesn't expire without getting points at half or missing out on points at half, you screwed something up majorly. That's just such a big issue that I don't think it's like you can even say that. I don't think you can make an argument that he should be the coach if that stuff happens more than once, which that type of thing did happen on multiple occasions. So, yeah, I think there's no way that you can keep him around as the head coach.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff that was just egregious. Like the I'm just gonna keep referencing the Bills games because we watched those, but Herbert had that Hail Mary that was landed like on the 3 or the 2, and they ran a run play, and they had no timeouts, and there was like a minute left in the game, and they could have tried an onside kick and try to tie the game up or win.
And didn't they hand the ball off, and then the next play they also tried to sneak it?
Yes.
So 2 plays in a row they ran it.
It
was a mess. It didn't. Yes, it's just stuff that didn't make any sense. It didn't make any sense at all. But meanwhile, there you've got Justin Herbert winning Rookie of the Year and looking out of this world.
Oh, he is above and beyond what I thought he would be.
Yeah, no,
already.
That's not what I was expecting. That's not what I was expecting at all. But I mean, hey, you had Tyrod Taylor as your quarterback, and we all know Tyrod Taylor is not a bad quarterback. So we all should have been able to realize that knowing that Tyrod Taylor isn't a bad quarterback, something had to happen to make it so that he could not be the starter anymore. And we should have realized that one of the only options was for Justin Herbert to be a really good player.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucked. It sucked how Tyrod initially got benched, but the reason he stayed on the bench is because Herbert was such a good player, and we should have seen that coming because we all know that somehow Tyrod is cursed, and no one will ever let him consistently stay a starting quarterback.
Yep. I feel bad for Tyrod because he is a starting quarterback in the NFL, and teams just don't give him that shot.
I mean,
when they do give him that shot, he gets stabbed in the lung.
Yeah, I know. So. I mean, hey, could if I asked you this, I don't think it would be as good. But do you think there would be a significant drop-off if Tyrod Taylor was the starting quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens instead of Lamar Jackson?
Baltimore's passing would be better.
I think I agree with you on that. But do you think overall there would be a slight decrease?
Do
you think Baltimore... it would? No, I'm just asking significant decrease or barely noticeable decrease?
Barely noticeable. Maybe they win one less game.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. That's the crazy part. I don't think people realize that about Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, he is very underappreciated.
Yeah, no. Yeah. All we got to do was see him in that Bengals game. That was it. And it was raining. It was week 1. It was like a raining, ugly mess.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it.
But he won.
That's all
He won. Undefeated as a starter for the Chargers.
Undefeated as a Charger. Man, I'm so sorry, Tyrod. I am so sorry, Tyrod. As for this defense, though, what was I know Derwin James obviously missed the year again, and that just sucks because he was such a good player to watch. How about Nick Bosa? What was up with him? Because I feel like, or sorry, not Nick, Joey.
He still put up numbers. I think it's just one of those not Aaron Donald situations, but I can't say JJ Watt either because everyone just loves JJ Watt. But he's just doing his thing, and they're just getting used to him being him. Granted, I'm pretty sure he made up like half of his sacks this season against the Bills, but
jeez, I was not even thinking about the Bills game. Holy crap, I forgot. He dominated that game.
Yeah.
He was dominant that game. Let's see. How many
He
sacks did he end up with? Yeah, he only ended up with 7.5 sacks. Did he play every game this season?
no, he only
No,
played 12.
and he only started 10 of them. So yeah, he was hurt. That's right. That's why there was a little less production there. Oh,
But
and I forgot they traded Desmond King during the season, didn't they, as well?
to the Titans.
Yeah. So I mean, defense kind of interesting.
Yep.
You got this Michael Davis guy had a few times this season that he caught my eye. I'd like to see him a little bit more. I mean, if he starts playing on a high level and they can get Derwin back, then wait, is Davis a corner or safety? Oh, he's a corner. I was thinking of him as a safety, just seeing the number 43. But yeah, he's a corner. No, never mind what I was gonna say. I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what Derwin back though. I mean, hopefully we don't get something ridiculous in training camp this year with him. I mean, geez, I would just if I was the coach, seriously, if I was the coach of a player that got 2 season-ending injuries in back-to-back training camps, I would tell him, "Hey, all you're doing for training camp is stretching and like light jogging. You're doing stretching and light jogging and that's it. And then you can get back on the field for the first game just so we can say you stepped foot back on the field and maybe that'll be enough to keep you out there." And then you can get back to working out
Yeah,
the
here's
way
the
we do.
here's the playbook. Sit on the bench and read this, all right?
Nah,
Like, I
he
just-
can get on the bike, just a light
Yeah.
bike, but nothing crazy.
Got you some reading material.
It just
Uh,
sucks seeing good players not get on the football field. That's what I really don't like to see. I mean,
Yeah.
who does? Who wants to see people get hurt? I think
Yeah, no, everyone wants to see the best product that they can see on the field, and him missing 2 straight seasons is just terrible.
I mean, that was one of the scary parts about the Browns potentially coming back in that Chiefs game. Well, it's like, well, if the Bills beat the Browns and then the Bills go to the Super Bowl, then the Bills are just going to be looked at like, well, you didn't play Kansas City.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we always want to see the best competition. Anyone who doesn't root for the best competition is just no. I disagree.
Yeah, man, it's really terrible.
Hey, Patrick Mahomes got toe surgery too. I mean, that's good. That's good. Now his toes all healed up. Maybe the receivers will catch the ball now. No, receivers
Oh,
won't.
No, sorry, I didn't hear you.
Didn't hear me. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No. I just said Patrick Mahomes got toe surgery. Maybe the receivers will catch the ball now.
Yeah. Maybe.
What do we think? What do we think about LA next season? Chargers.
If Herbert keeps up his development and continues to grow, if he takes, well, he's already better than where Josh Allen was his rookie season, but if he keeps that trajectory, that Josh Allen trajectory, they're at least gonna be fighting for a wild card. I can't say that they're gonna win the division because KC's there.
9-7.
Yeah, 9-7, maybe 10 wins. But
I don't
yeah,
love them in their division because I'm scared that Denver is eventually gonna, and we're gonna talk about Denver now, but I'm scared Denver is eventually gonna figure this quarterback situation out, and when Denver figures out this quarterback situation, this team is gonna be very scary,
yeah,
very scary. Judy, Fant, Sutton, Hamler, Gordon, Lindsey. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to play them if they had any quarterback.
yeah.
And I thought Drew
Tim
Lock was
Patrick
going to
too.
do
Tim
it this
Patrick
year.
too. Put
You're
some- put
right,
some
Tim
respect on
Patrick. You're
Patrick's
right.
name.
You're right. You're very right. Tim Patrick is a good receiver. I mean, if they had Janovich, it would be the full package.
Yeah,
But yeah,
really,
no,
really
I
fumbled
thought
it there.
I thought Drew Lock was gonna look a lot better than he did this season, and he just didn't, and I don't really know why. And the defense obviously still has a bunch of talented players on it, so I don't think the defense is much of the issue at all. And I think Fangio, being the coach, helps them in that defensive mindset. But what do you think? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think there's anything that is
No,
missing here
they're
besides a quarterback?
no, they're Von Miller missed the whole season, so that's like the cornerstone of their defense.
Yes.
And they have, like you said, they have Fangio, and Fangio is one of the best defensive coaches in the NFL. So their defense, I am completely fine with it. They're going to be good. They have a lot of great players on that D, especially Justin Simmons, who is the most like underrated safety in all of the NFL.
I'm gonna argue with you on that because I think that the Broncos are still more well known than the Bengals, and I think Jesse Bates may be better than Justin Simmons.
Okay, well, we can argue that later, but Justin Simmons is very underrated.
Yes.
And so I'm fine with like looking the other way for their defense because that defense is going to be so good next season, no matter like with Von Miller coming back and everything. Their offense, yeah, they need a quarterback. Drew Lock is he's there, and that's about the most I could say about him. He just he doesn't do anything for me. Doesn't
No.
excite me.
No, he doesn't.
The one thing
He rapped
that
on the
I
sideline.
thought was
He rapped on the
yeah.
sideline. That
Well,
was the one thing he did.
Well, no, the game against the Dolphins, the one moment where I was like, "Nice job, Drew Lock," was the game against the Dolphins where he just chucked that bomb deep, to like seal the game to run the clock out with like 5 seconds left in the game. He just threw it up and completed it right down the sideline to Tim Patrick, I think.
Yeah.
That it was the one time where I was like, wow.
And that's it. And so it falls on the quarterback. So I mean, if Drew Lock is the quarterback of this team next season, are we thinking? I'm saying 6-10.
Yeah, I don't see them doing much better than what they are right now.
I will say though, Jerry Jeudy, for what I saw, like he dropped a lot of passes this year, didn't he?
Yes, he
He
had
needs to figure that out because that doesn't make any sense. I don't know what's up with that.
I think Maine, yeah, he only caught 46% of catchable passes.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I think that part of that is because he had very little quarterback consistency throughout the season because he was bouts between Drew Lock, Jeff Driscoll, and Brett Rippon, and also Kendall Hinton for a game. So,
what did Kendall Hinton complete a pass? One.
Yes, he completed one.
Yeah. Don't even bother counting Kendall Hinton. That game basically didn't even happen. Yeah, no, I think this team goes like 6-10 if Drew Lock is back. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 6-10. Maybe they get 7 wins.
Yeah, it's just
if Drew Lock takes a big leap, they could go 8-8.
Yeah, maybe he'll get that Josh Allen leap. This is year 3 for him, right?
Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, can't count it
year
out
3.
ever.
Year 3, is he gonna still be in the same system on offense, or has it changed?
Dude, I got no clue.
I think this is gonna be his 3rd year in the league, 2nd year with Pat Schumer. So maybe that consistency helps him.
That sounds right to me. Pat Shurmur,
sorry.
Yes, I was just making sure that's who it was. I was thinking.
Yes, I meant yes.
All right. Yeah. No. But I mean, we'll see. I don't. Look, I just think they're not that exciting until we get more.
Yeah. No, I agree.
More out of the quarterback, no matter how it comes. It's just. And Jerry Jeudy catching passes, but.
Yes.
But besides those two things, this team is. It's an interesting team. Then we got the Washington football team.
Going from one of the least exciting teams in the NFL to the most exciting division in all of football last season, the NFC East.
If Taylor Heineke plays 16 games as he played one game last season, this team could win 12 games next season.
Yeah. Yeah, and he
Like,
just
and
got
easily.
he got locked into an extension 2-year deal. So he is at the very least going to be the backup quarterback next season.
Let's just think about this. He played arguably, maybe even like almost basically, I mean, with how they played in the Super Bowl, almost like guaranteed the best defense in the league last season. Just in the grand scheme of things, that was the best defense in the league, right? In the playoffs.
Yes.
He scored 23 points in that game, and his teammates around him kept him from scoring a heck of a lot more.
Yeah.
That is scary. And if that is in this division, if he plays like that against these division rivals every game they play against these teams next season, then they're going to go 6-0 in the division, which means that if they go, what's that leave? 10 games left. If they go 500 outside of the division, they go 11-5. I mean, just it's so weird to put so much stock into one game, but I've never seen a backup quarterback come in and just look and make it look as smooth as he did in one game.
He's not even the backup quarterback. He's like the third string quarterback on that team.
Well, I mean, he was the fourth. I mean, if you talk about from the start of the season, he was the fourth string quarterback. And in that game, you could argue that in that one game, compared to like, you'd be comparing it to quarterbacks who started many more games this season, but just going down the list, I mean, there's not many quarterbacks that you would say, yeah, I want him over him. I mean, he's like, if he played like that every week of the season, he'd be a top third quarterback in the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's wild. And in this division, which is very weak, that would make this team become sorry, just in terms of win-loss, because I don't want to call them a powerhouse, because against like really good teams, it still would be a fairly difficult matchup for them. But at least within the division, I think they would be a huge favorite.
Yeah.
Especially considering we don't know what's up with Dak in Dallas, and they're the only like other team in this division that really, like, at this point is like, oh, that would be interesting. But if Dak is gone in Dallas, then wow, Washington could walk away with this next year.
Well, Heineke, if he's going to keep that offense afloat, if he's the starting quarterback, and that the defense is
insane. So I mean, you don't even need to talk about it.
Yeah,
you basically don't even need to talk about it, because it's
so weird to see a defense like that. And I'm pretty sure the only guy that they have on that defense that's over 30 is Thomas Davis, and he's like 40. So
it's like 40. Yes, that is true. Thomas Davis is old.
But they don't have like anyone else on the D that's over 30 besides Thomas Davis.
I hadn't been thinking about that. That is wild. I mean, it's just a ton. They've got some very good players on that defense, and the rest of them are just they've got some great players on that defense, and the rest of them are like all very good players. It's very scary. It's very scary.
Yeah.
And as for the offensive side of the ball, Antonio Gibson, great pick last year. Also had him in fantasy. He was amazing. So happy with that fantasy pick. But a great running back to get for this team. Still going to be on a rookie deal, obviously. And if Heineke is the quarterback, and they're only paying their quarterback like $4.5 million a year, which we still don't know if he'll end up being the starter, but we're obviously rooting for him to be the starter. Then they've got Steven Sims, who has crazy speed, Terry McLaurin, who's almost like a receiver playing at an all-pro level. And then Logan Thomas, who's been putting up numbers and probably isn't like considered that great of a player, but I mean, if he's producing, he's producing.
Mm-hmm.
It's if that team can start getting things right, and like I said, he had a ton of guys dropping passes for him in that wild card game. I mean, this team becomes very scary very quickly.
Yeah.
And this one they're gonna be like the hardest to figure out what they're gonna do next season. I don't know. I think I would go at like 9. No, but they're in this division. I think I'd guess that they're gonna win like 10 games next year.
Yeah. 10, maybe 11 games next year. But yeah, if they decide to do something funky at quarterback, if they draft a guy and have him play right away, then I'm not confident in that at all.
Oh no, drop the
But
total to 7. Give them
yeah,
7 and 9 if they do that. But
same
I mean,
record as it was this. Yeah,
it's crazy to think that I mean I know we're both doing it. We're both putting a ton of stock into Heineke, but have you ever seen anything like that?
I've never seen a dude come fresh off the practice squad and just ball. That like that's a preseason type of thing that happens where it's like, oh yeah,
where it's
but
like
he's playing against
everybody's
other guys
third
that are on the practice
stringers.
squad.
Yeah,
And
everybody on
he
the
did
field
that
is
against
a fourth string
one of
player
the best defenses in the NFL.
on wild card weekend.
Yeah.
No. Crazy. NYG.
Joe Judge. I have no idea what to think of him. I have no idea what to think of this team.
This team is a bunch of just I don't really know.
Yeah, I followed the Giants pretty closely throughout like the first half of the season because at college my roommate at college was a Giants fan, so every Sunday he'd be watching the Giants games. And for like the first 5 weeks, he's just like, yeah, I expected this, and I was like, what? Like, you expected to lose the first 5 games in a row? And then he went ecstatic when they beat the football team the very next week because Rivera went for it, like went for 2, when he could have just kicked the field goal and gone to OT. That was like the very start of the division where everyone's just like, I'm just gonna try to win games, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like, I have no idea what to think of the Giants at all. Daniel Jones is an anomaly to me.
I mean, I get it. You're trying to just you get in the open field and nobody's near you, and it's just like, okay, I just have to run as fast as I possibly can all the way down there. And just like that play for Daniel Jones, it's not the one that he should have had a 90-yard touchdown on, but it's an 80-yard run where he falls over at like the 10-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody knows it, and it's not just that I'm picking it out because I want to be like, oh geez, that was so funny. It really is just that clearly like that's how the entire Daniel Jones experience feels, and I'm afraid like that. As the Giants, just because of how we've heard the general manager talk about him as a quarterback before, are just going to be like, yeah, we'll settle for this, and we'll just keep settling for this, and we'll just keep settling for this, and I don't really know what's a good... He may just turn into, like, not in terms of play style, but in terms of play level, like how well he plays. The Giants may just end up with like Andy Dalton for an extended period of time, and they may just eventually like realize, hey, we really probably wasted a lot of time with this guy here. It's just, I've got a lot of question marks about Daniel Jones, and meanwhile they have one of the best players in the league at one of the most least valuable positions in Saquon Barkley. And I know I've talked up like Nick Chubb and Josh Jacobs so far because I like them as players. But we have to be honest with ourselves here and say that running backs are realistically not that valuable in the grand scheme of things. I mean, we just saw the Super Bowl winner literally pick one up off the street week 1, and he was their best running back in the playoffs.
Yeah. I love Saquon. He's great. It's terrible. The same thing with Derwin James. Terrible that he missed the whole season basically. But it's he's not gonna win them games, and Daniel Jones definitely is gonna win them games. It's the reason you compared Daniel Jones to Andy Dalton. I don't know. I agree, but I'd have to disagree as well because at least Andy Dalton won games and got him to the playoffs. I don't know if Daniel Jones will ever be able to do that.
Yes, you're right, but Andy Dalton had a lot more talent around him, and I'm saying that if they were both given the same team around them, I would expect the same result.
Okay, yeah, I can agree with that.
Because I would never expect them to be the key cog in the machine that allows them to advance further than we expected them to.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, that's scary.
It just feels like the Giants are gonna go through Daniel Jones's rookie contract, give him like a 3-year extension after that, and realize, wow, we wasted 8 years and have gone 8-8, like 5 years in a row.
Yeah, yeah, it's scary when you get a GM who's like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like because you know that what I'm talking about is last year when they had their comeback win over the Bucks, and it was something stupid, like it got them from 1-6 to 2-6, or like 0-7 to 1-7, and he goes on the internet and says something like, "You see, that's why we picked him. That's why we picked him," because it was like they finally benched Eli and put him in, and he won them a game, and it was like, oh Lord, this is how the general manager reacts when they finally win a game or something like that. And it was
Yeah.
like, that is not what you want to see.
Yeah, it's just embarrassing isn't the right word because it's embarrassing for the GM to do that. I just feel bad for Daniel Jones because he's been given the keys to a Ferrari. I don't mean that the Giants team is a Ferrari. I mean like a football team as a whole. He is the quarterback of a football team
In the NFL.
in the NFL, and he's been given the keys, and it doesn't seem like he knows how to drive.
Nope, he don't.
So
He's got like
that.
like it's like he knows how to drive, but like does he remember to put his turning signal on, or
Yeah.
does he, you know,
He's not scared to crash because he knows that his parents are just gonna buy him a new one.
does he put the car in park when he's in the parking lot, like in the parking
Yeah.
spot, like he sometimes leaves it in neutral. He doesn't have it all perfect, but he's like somewhat there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's what you're missing. And I mean the thing, yeah, I guess we really talked about Daniel Jones for a long time. Quick mentioning of the defense. The defense played very well for this team. It's just very strange because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of pieces there to play well, but somehow they did.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyone you want to mention there?
Blake Martinez, he's gonna ball no matter where he goes. He balled in Green Bay with their same thing as Joe Schobert. Not as underrated as Joe Schobert, but he just went underrated in Green Bay. Got a bag, went to the Giants, balled out. He like led the team in tackles by a ton.
These guys picked up Logan Ryan, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Logan Ryan's even more underrated than Blake Martinez is. He is an extremely good player, and I don't know if he's coming back to them this season because I know he was a mid-season acquisition for them last year. But if he comes back, he's also a very good player.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
And like a dynamic playmaker in Jabril Peppers as well. He's just always going to be fun to watch. But
yeah,
as a whole, Leonard Williams too. He did really well this season.
yeah. I got to
He's
be honest,
probably
I
gonna-
didn't catch as many Giants games as you did apparently.
I just know because I lived with a guy
I know.
for a couple months that just talked about the Giants. So
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, Leonard Williams underrated. He's probably gonna get a bag somewhere. Yeah, it the the Giants will be in the same spot they are in now at the end of next season if they don't do something. Maybe Saquon can win them one more game and they finish 7-9. But
I don't even see that. I think them getting to 6 wins this year was actually kind of impressive.
yeah,
I think 6 wins is an aggressive goal for next season
well,
as well.
every
But
team in the NFC East, it
yes,
just seems like they were trying to sabotage themselves the whole
yes,
season.
literally. Okay, Dallas. Dak. What about him?
I like Dak.
I like Dak Prescott as well. I don't understand. I, the problem is that if you're the Cowboys, you just wasted so much money on Ezekiel Elliott that paying Dak Prescott at the same time makes your salary cap like terrible.
Yes.
And I I want and if I today became in charge of the Dallas Cowboys, I'm assuming there's no way to really get out of Ezekiel Elliott's contract, which means that we're just going to have to hold that, which sucks. But since we have to hold Zeke's contract, I'm probably thinking to myself that I can't sign back Dak, and I think that's a big thought in their minds right now as well. I think they made a
Hmm.
really bad decision extending Zeke, and I don't think Zeke is that great of a player. I mean, he was the first couple of years he was in the league, but geez, this season he was basically just a fumble machine from everything I watched, and it was yeah, no, it was not anything exciting at all. They obviously still have all the receiving talent there, and I guess whatever's going on at the defense, like you got who are some names there? You got Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith, like some guys, Lawrence. They've paid a lot of guys that are going to make it hard to pay Prescott. So I would say that just logically, yes, the Cowboys should pay Prescott. And if he's healthy the whole season, they should be competing with Washington next season for the top of this division. But the thing is that if you pay Prescott, that means there is zero money at all for any, and by anything I mean anything else. Like you're going to probably have to cut guys. It's just yeah, I don't
Yeah.
see it. I don't see how it could work, and I think just because of that, that's what may make them have to move on from Prescott in the end. But obviously, just this past season, that was just ruined because Dak was injured.
Yeah. I mean, even with Andy Dalton and Ben DiNucci and Garrett Gilbert and everyone else that they, I think I just named all of them,
I
didn't
think
I?
their punter threw a pass.
Yeah.
Or no,
So all those,
was it like a corner? Did the punter run like up the field and then a corner like was the gunner and
uh,
the gunner ran behind him and took the ball and
something like that. Mike McCarthy thinking that he's the smartest coach on the field, doing something like that. But no, it's even with Andy Dalton there and all those other guys. The receivers balled. Like uh, uh, Amari had 1100, CD had 900, Gallup almost had 850. It's like it's
yeah,
an attractive
they did
place
even
to
better than
go.
Pittsburgh's guys.
Yes, I for Dak, it's an attractive place to go, or to stay. I mean, it's an attractive place for him to stay, but at the same time, he wants to get paid. So
Yeah.
that's
No.
really what it's going to come down to.
If Dallas wants to keep him, they're going to have to franchise tag him. That's the only option.
And everyone knows that that's exactly what Dak wants to not happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's going to be awful just for all parties involved. I don't know.
Hmm.
I would hope that he wouldn't show up to training camp if they did that, but I
Hmm.
don't know if he's going to have much choice because this was the end of his rookie deal, correct?
I believe so.
Which means that he still hasn't gotten a healthy payday yet, which means that if he stops showing up, he may be getting charged more than he was even making before. which is the crazy
Yeah.
part. He may be getting charged more for missing these practices than if he had made going to them.
Yeah.
It's just wild to think about, but it's not a good situation for anyone, and I'm not liking. I don't see at least in terms of next season, I don't see this going very well. I still think you're right though. I mean, the receivers are still outstanding on this team, and I think Tony Pollard is actually a great running back, which is sad because they have to keep using Zeke as their number one guy. But
Yeah.
and the O line's still good. The O line's
Mhm.
still pretty solid. Yeah, it's just that this quarterback situation is out of whack. It's really weird.
Yeah. And another place that has a whacked up quarterback situation, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah.
The bottom feeders of the
I
worst
I
division.
I went thinking about this quarterback room. It really
Yeah.
it really hurts me.
Oh yeah. I have to agree. This,
What funny jokes! I'm sure everybody laughed at that.
Oh. Well, just give them an extra second to pull themselves together before we move on, I guess.
Oh yes. Okay.
Uh,
Can we just say this?
yeah.
Trade Carson Wentz. Don't keep him
Yes.
around. If I can't believe that the owner wants to keep Carson Wentz, because I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here, and that's insane.
Yeah, especially after I sent you that one report that Carson Wentz is in team meeting rooms, quarterback room, and they're saying, "Why'd you hold on to the ball here? Why'd you throw it there? The route actually goes this way." And he's just saying, "Oh, well, this guy ran the wrong route." He's making up excuses
Yeah.
on stuff that you can't make an excuse for. And when you and I talked about this, I think it was a month ago, we both agreed, like, you don't want that guy to be the leader of your team if he's making excuses for himself.
Well, I mean,
it's
the
ridiculous.
only thing that makes it even worse is the fact that the coach is sitting up there at the front of the meeting room, and it's like, well, you have a terrible excuse, but I'm just gonna let it slide. Like,
Mhm.
you have a responsibility as a coach to be like, you're wrong. At some
Yeah.
point, you can't just be like, hey, this guy's really talented. We just have to let him do what he does. No, you have to say you're wrong.
It really sucks because I think Doug Peterson was that coach that said, "Hey, man, you're wrong. Take a seat for a little bit." And
Yeah, I'm pretty
Maybe-
sure the owner wouldn't let them bench Wentz.
yeah,
And the only thing that makes it even this team is the thing that's so sad about this team. Nick Sirianni, the head coach, right? That's his name.
yes, that is his name.
him. I was just making sure I got the name right. He is now in a situation where he got hired as the head coach, and we obviously saw that first press conference, and everything that he said I really liked, but
Mhm.
obviously with the stuttering and stuff, and it's like he's uncomfortable because he hasn't been in that press conference situation before. That doesn't look good. And all on top of that is we're not even going to know how good of a coach he is if ownership is forcing him to use specific tools.
Yeah,
Ownership is about to limit him in what he is able to do, and potentially maybe they did make a good hire at head coach here, and they're gonna make him look bad, and that's what I feel even worse about, because it's like, okay, if the guy comes in initially and it's like, okay, he's uncomfortable in front of the media at first, that's fine. That's one thing that's working against him, but he could potentially get over that. And it's like, you just see it, and it's like, he hasn't even, we can see it from here that he's not even going to get to coach a game yet, and he is going to be dealing with having these multiple things that he's not used to, just dealing with the media in general, and then on top of that having a owner scream in his ear, hey, this is what you can and can't do, you have to do it this way that I want it. And it's just like, why don't you coach the team yourself?
yeah, yeah. I hate that because even I shouldn't say Jerry Jones doesn't do it because he does to a degree.
Well,
but
Jerry
I don't-
Jones though, this is the thing. Teams have general managers. When you have a general manager, it makes it clear the hierarchy. Jerry Jones is the general manager, so he has the right to do all those things. If you're an owner that chooses to hire a general manager and then goes in and still like pokes around and does your own thing when you hired people to do these jobs, you're screwing up your hierarchy. You understand what I'm saying? So Jerry Jones makes it clear, like, I'm involved in this. Whereas the owner for the Eagles is Yes, you're right. Sorry.
Howie Roseman?
Is it?
Is that his name?
Wait, let's look at this. I think you are probably correct, but hang on. Eagles owner. Sorry, it's Jeffrey Lurie. Howie Roseman is like one of their head of the operations.
Operations,
Yeah, something like that. Okay, so yeah, Jeffrey Lurie is in on this stuff, but he's got a general manager hired and he's got his head coach hired and he's still like poking a stick around in the situation that they're talking about. It's just messy. It's messy. If you make your intentions clear, like, hey, I'm involved in this, it's whatever. But you get into that and that's all whacked out of proportion or whatever. That's just why I think you need to trade Wentz, because I think you do still have a roster. Just I don't really want to talk about this team that much longer because we've already been talking about them for a fairly decent amount of time.
Yeah.
But you have a team here that still has a fairly decent roster without talking about any players specifically. Just overall, it's a pretty decent roster, and the Wentz situation is just making it messy. It's making it really messy, and they should move on from him. Try it with Jalen Hurts and or some other quarterback, but Wentz is really showing the bad colors of that building.
Yes.
Or the bad side of that building, whatever you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Is that where you want to leave off for Philadelphia?
I don't really have much to say. You and I both feel very strongly about that team and what we dislike about them.
They need to move on from Wentz, and I think we both think that they won't, do we? We don't think they will.
Yeah, no, he's gonna stay there. They're gonna stick Sirianni with him, and he's gonna have to figure out something. And
I'm so sorry for Nick Sirianni. Sorry.
No, I can't imagine being given a screwdriver and saying hammer that nail in.
Yeah,
because that's basically what they're doing for him.
You're exactly right. And sorry to any Eagles fans, because I feel like every other team we've hit on a decent amount of players for them, but that's just how simple the equation is for the Eagles, and I really think that's the case.
Yeah.
Green Bay.
Aaron Rodgers played with a fire in his stomach this season. He played.
And that sounds like he's sick.
Off.
I don't think that would make you play well.
Sorry. He played like he was ticked off.
Well, he was, and as you know, I told you before the draft even happened that Jordan Love would get selected by the Packers, so it shouldn't have been much of a surprise.
Yeah, you did, and I still can't believe that you called that, but
yeah. No, that was
Jordan
a good
Love
one.
got brought into the building, and he didn't even suit up for a game this season.
Yeah. Oh, he didn't? Wait, you mean he
he didn't even suit up. He was inactive every single week, I'm pretty sure.
Wait, who's their Boyle? Who's their backup quarterback? Boyle sounds right, but I don't even know his first name.
I think it's Boyle. You may be right, but
I'm not even sure.
I'm pretty sure Jordan Love did not. Tim Boyle. Tim Boyle's the backup.
All right.
So Jordan Love did not suit up for a game for them, and Aaron Rodgers went out there and he was like, well, I feel like he just decided as soon as that pick was made, he's like, I'm gonna just go out there and win MVP, and he did just that. Played with Devontae Adams, who you and I both agree is very overrated.
Mm-hmm. Good player though. Good
No,
player.
good player, very overrated. Gets schemed open a lot, but everyone does.
Oh my
So
gosh, Devontae Adams cooked Jalen Ramsey.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
runs
cooked him on that
runs
route.
up and down the field laterally before the plays even started to catch an easy touchdown by running a pick play
Absolutely,
before the plays even began. He's getting a pick from the other receiver. Yeah, jeez, or the other corner or whatever. Jeez, it's
yeah,
so difficult. Oh my
absolutely
gosh.
cooked him.
Or Aaron Rodgers, or he's like got like he's like perfectly covered. Like he didn't get open on a play, and Aaron Rodgers puts the ball in like a pinpoint spot that's the only place he could catch it, that no other quarterback could put it there. It just
Yeah.
makes him look good. Yeah. No. It's
Uh,
like, hey, jeez, it's so bad to say it like that though, because that sounds like it's hating on him so much.
no,
It's
he's
just
really
that everybody talks about him like he is a potential offensive player of the year or something, when he's just making plays that are there. There are people that don't make plays that are there though, so you do have to say that he is still a talented player.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah, no,
but
keep going.
their passing game was it was phenomenal. The run game though, it was something that you just wouldn't expect to go along with a passing offense that was as potent as theirs.
I'm on a
Like,
new level.
yeah,
I'm on a new
they
level.
they they had Aaron Jones go over 1,000 yards. Jamal Williams is solid, and AJ Dillon looks like he's gonna be their future number one back. So
He's the guy. He's the guy from Boston College who I was like, "Holy crap, dude! He's got like, what the heck? What did I say? What did I say? I don't know. It looks like he's got tree trunks for thighs, though. I think that's what I said.
yeah,
He's just insane,
yeah, he is so
insane power
freakish.
back, power back.
Yeah,
I just love getting power backs. They're so much more fun to watch than elusive backs. I mean, it's always. I mean, any sort of long touchdown run is fun, but I mean, come on, is it really like? Which is more satisfying, the Beast Quake or like Barry Sanders spinning out five guys at once? I think even though both are really cool, I think people would like, if they got to see one of them in person, it would be the Beast Quake.
yeah, I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
But their offense was just so I now we're getting in murky water if I say it was better than Kansas City's, but
Are
it,
you?
it was something.
I don't think you are. I don't think you
uh,
are. Like
then
regular season wise, I don't think you
yeah,
are.
it was so good.
No, yeah,
It,
because Kansas City started in the regular season, not first game because they obviously came out and whooped Houston, but like early in the season, it didn't feel like, or even really throughout the regular season, it didn't. It just felt like Kansas City's offense wasn't doing as much in the regular season as they usually do. But then they turned it up for the playoffs and looked a lot better, at least in the divisional and championship game. But yeah, no, I think the Packers offense was definitely the best offense in the regular season this year. And the other thing was that I really want to say about this team is in the 2019-2020 season, so last season, not this season, they went 13-3 as well, and I was like, geez, this is one of the worst 13-3 teams I've ever seen. And then this season they did it again, and it's like, holy crap, everything that I thought was wrong with this team last year, they fixed.
yeah,
And they were just a lot better. And really, it was it was kind of sad to see Brady and Mahomes make it to the Super Bowl, just because we saw Mahomes last year and we've seen Brady plenty in the Super Bowl before. So I kind of wanted to see someone who hadn't been there in a while, and Rodgers would be that guy, but he obviously didn't make it. But I think he's that still would have been a very fun game had the Packers played in it.
yeah.
Man, I just it would have been fun, but that's obviously not what happened.
It sucks because the main their defense just played phenomenal in the championship game. At least I thought they did. They
Yeah, they
picked
got
Brady off 3 times.
3 turnovers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I know.
but then
It's
you have Kevin King who played great all season. And you know how I know he played great? Because I didn't know his name until the championship game. So
you know what's even funnier about that?
what?
You know how many years he's been in the league?
How many?
No, just guess.
3?
And you didn't know his name after 3 years?
No.
Okay. No, I was just wondering because I think he's been in the league 2 years. Wait a minute. No. Hang on. It says 2017 joined Packers.
Ah.
So he's
He's been in the league that long.
4 years and you don't know his name. So he has been doing well. You're right. Yeah, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. He has started 36 games in his career. Yeah, no, I thought he was a pretty good player too. Yeah, that was a bad championship game for him.
Yeah, and it sucks because there's going to be a lot of people that just aren't going to let him live that down, or they're going to say that he's the reason that they lost that game, which, I mean, getting toasted by Scotty Miller doesn't really help you on your resume, but...
Well, he's faster than
You
Tyreek
can't-
Hill.
Yeah, he is. Scotty Miller is. He said it himself, and I believe everything that any NFL player says.
Yes, that is
But-
true.
It's just one of those things where one player doesn't win or lose you games, and Kevin King's just going to go down as the guy that lost them that championship game.
Yeah, he probably will. I love the Smiths that rush the passer for them. Both of them.
Oh, yeah. They're great. They're
really
great.
good. And Kenny Clark in the middle. Defense is still really strong there for them. They've got a lot of guys on that team just all over the place that I like. I mean, I don't know what's Aaron Rodgers is acting disgruntled right now somewhat, right? That's what was in recent news, correct?
Yeah, because they were
Yeah.
kicking field goals, and he thought that the one that they kicked, he thought that they would go for it on 4th down. He had no idea that they were kicking the field goal there.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not too concerned with that. I'm sure he'll be back next season, and as long as he's back next season, I think this team is going to have just as good a chance to get to the Super Bowl
Yeah,
as they did this past season.
Yeah, I don't. Well, even winning the division, I don't see them having any struggle winning this division at all.
Yeah, Detroit's probably going to be worse. I don't know. Maybe other people are more threatened by Minnesota than I am, and Chicago could be scary depending on just because the quarterback market is there, and they potentially could get someone to come in as the quarterback market, but
Yeah, I mean anyone's better than Trubisky at this point,
and
right?
since we're talking about Chicago, let's talk about Chicago.
Yeah. So, like I said, anyone's better than Trubisky at this point, right? For them, if they're willing to even
Breathe.
let him go.
If they breathe.
Yeah.
I hope they move on. I just hope they let the quarterbacks get out of the. I mean, who's the. This is an honest question. Don't say Bobby Douglas because we both love Bobby Douglas, but I mean, who is actually the best quarterback in Bears history?
Butler.
Is it?
I
I think no. I think you may be right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, yeah, who else?
It's
Like-
it's that bad. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe if you get back to like before the '60s, but like I can't even say for sure. Like I'm trying to think of a name, but I don't even know who these guys played for, so I can't say any of them. Like I think you're right, and it's tough to think about that somebody could be potentially like more than 3 times as old as us, watched like all these Bears games since the Super Bowl merger, and just never had competent quarterback play. I mean, at least they got a Super Bowl, but never had competent quarterback play ever.
Yeah.
That's tough, and I mean that's the thing about the league nowadays is I feel like we keep coming back to it. Like almost like what team have we not stressed quarterback play for? There's not one maybe Jacksonville, just because they're like so far away from being good. The Jets too. Like
Yeah.
the teams that aren't close to being good, it's like you need to build everything. But I mean, any teams that have like any semblance of they could figure something out, quarterback play is so huge. And the Bears have never had
And
it.
yeah, like here's a good question too about the Bears quarterbacks. Which one is the starter and which one's the backup between Trubisky and Foles? Because it's getting hard to even tell the difference at this point.
Here's
It's like
here's
well,
here's a great answer for you. Are you ready for this?
yeah,
Neither of them are either
Mhm.
the starter or the backup for the team. That quarterback room should be cleared completely, and we should have a fresh start because I don't think either of them is the answer.
yeah. No, I agree, and
Hope-
they're just letting this defense kind of rot.
yeah, that defense is up there with Pittsburgh, Tampa. I mean, they beat Tampa. They beat Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're obviously a good enough team to do it. So let's figure it out, Chicago. Let's get going. You have weapons on offense. You got Montgomery. You got Montgomery for your power run game. You got Tariq Cohen for your receiving back. You got Cordell Patterson. Well, actually, I don't know what's happening with Cordell Patterson. He could be a free agent. Is he? Probably.
I have no
He
idea.
probably is. He always signs like short deals, doesn't he? He signs
Yeah.
pretty short deals usually, I think. But you still got Allen Robinson as of now. And you got the young kid, Wims. Mooney. Sorry, Mooney's the one I'm thinking of. You're right. Mooney's the good one. And I mean, Wims is a decent player, but not as good as Mooney. Yeah, I mean, you got pieces. You got pieces there on offense, and your defense is insane. So figure out your quarterback position. But if not, I think you're the same place you were this year, 8-8, somewhere around there, right?
Yep. Just
That quarterback gets you. Good quarterback gets you to like 12 wins.
yep, just need to air out that quarterback room and get rid of Buster Screen. And
Yes, that is a key to everything. If Buster Screen is on your roster, you're not headed for any success.
you're just actively trying to lose.
Minnesota.
Kirk Cousins does play quarterback in the National Football League. Dalvin Cook does everything he can for that team, and maybe even more.
Yes, this team will always have a zone running game. Besides that, I don't have much like consistent confidence in anything. But off the zone run game, you will be able to throw some play action. But I mean, that defense this season was probably one of the most disappointing units I have seen in a while.
Yes.
Like, what happened?
They didn't lose. They didn't lose anyone big.
No, like
they traded for Yannick Ngakoue and then traded him away like the very next week.
Yeah, no, they. I'm sorry, D lineman. Danielle Hunter, still there, correct?
Yes.
And the other defensive end, Everson Griffin. Did he leave? He left for Dallas, correct?
Yes, and then the Cowboys cut him there, but
Yes, but that was the only guy they lost.
mm-hmm.
Trey Waynes. Did Trey Waynes went to Cincy?
Yes.
Xavier Rhodes to Indianapolis.
Xavier Rhodes went to the Colts. Yeah.
Do you think any of those pieces are a big enough excuse for what drop off they had?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. That drop off made absolutely no sense. But what I will say about it is that them playing like that definitely does not give me a lot of confidence for this team next season, and I think they have to stay committed to Kirk Cousins for now. And once again, go back to quarterback play. Not too scared of Kirk Cousins, so I'll just say that I think this team is looking to stay about where they were. Maybe even get a little worse, 6-10 probably.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins is the same thing as Daniel Jones for me. It's like they're investing a lot of time and money into him, but at the end of the day, like he he's gonna he's like Alex Smith kind of in a sense where he's not gonna lose you games per se,
I'd rather have
but
Alex Smith than Kirk Cousins.
yeah, it's just
Yeah, no.
like
It's not gonna help you. It's
yeah.
not advancing you. I will give credit to Justin Jefferson for having a good rookie year, even though I'm not
Oh
a
yes,
fan.
oh
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
he was
no,
the guy.
no,
Yeah,
sorry. I am not a fan. I just wasn't a. I didn't want to draft him. That doesn't mean I
yeah.
wasn't a fan. I just didn't want to pick him.
What makes it the third year in a row that the Bills pick gets the guy that you just didn't want to touch in the draft?
Mm-hmm. And I can't wait to find out who the guy I will not want is this year to be certain that the Bills selection will be used on him.
Uh,
All right, Detroit. This is Motor City, and Motor City is made up of a lot of factories, which means they have to put a lot of things together. And yeah, Detroit, the Lions organization will be doing a lot of taking apart to put it all back together eventually, or attempt to.
yes, that was a very nice, long-winded analogy there. Uh, the Dan Campbell looks like a madman. Uh, which I really do think that that's kind of what Detroit needs. Because you had Matt Patricia, who was a madman, but he was just like internally crazy and not like externally crazy. I think the craziest thing he did in public was tell that one guy to stop slouching during a press conference, which I mean, whatever. I love it when Dan Campbell comes on there and starts yelling that everyone's gonna start biting off kneecaps, and then trades for Jared Goff, who is the less
Who's the most
likely.
surfer dude
Yeah,
quarterback in the NFL?
I would not expect Jared Goff to be eating any kneecaps.
I just had to check the other day because like I heard that Sean McVay, like, this wasn't anything that was necessarily true, but obviously um there are some kind of like thoughts surrounding Jared Goff and like him not being as intelligent. And I do remember him not knowing which direction the sun rose in when he was in Hard Knocks in like 2016 when he got drafted. He didn't know where the sun arose from. So I had to look up his Wonderlic. I had to look up his Wonderlic score to see how stupid he really was, but it wasn't bad enough where it was like, ah, dang it. It actually, I don't even think it was bad. I think it was a pretty decent score, which actually surprised me. But
Yeah, I have no. Obviously the Lions are going to be worse with Jared Goff at quarterback. We agree on that. They
yeah, that all hurt them.
yes,
I think I
yes,
just saw something today that said they're basically basically because like all their receivers are leaving. Now I can't, this is not confirmed. I'm just making this assumption, but basically because of the fact that all the receivers will probably be leaving in the off season, they decided to start marketing now that yeah, we really think DeAndre Swift can like carry the ball at least 25 times a game. And it's just like, oh geez, really? You're just giving up that quickly? Like, there's no way we maintain our receiving talent here at all. We're gonna have to hand the ball off the whole season. Oh geez.
yeah. It's,
I'm not saying Detroit's doing the wrong thing here. Uh uh, and like I said before, I'm not in favor of tanking, but I think all of their players are choosing to leave them. Not them choosing to get rid of their players, but their players are choosing to leave, and because of that, that's going to make their roster very bad. And I think the simple thing to say about this team next season is they are going to be very bad.
yes, and like it's not really anything to be proud of when 35-year-old AP is leading the team in rushing yards and
No,
like
no, that's not something
yeah,
to be proud of.
it's I feel bad because I'm pretty sure uh like the defense, I don't even want to really touch on it because I don't know a lot of the guys on that defense. Like Jamie Collins, I know who he is. Akuda,
Yeah.
he top pick. Danny Shelton's there too,
Harmon's
but
there, ain't he?
it's just all guys that played on the Patriots at one point in
Yeah,
their career.
Harmon's there too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I feel bad for Jamal Agnew because that dude is a weapon, and
Oh
he's
my
gonna be
gosh,
stuck there.
he's so good. He is so good.
And
He's
it just
he's
stinks.
another guy you just forget about because it's like
yeah,
he's not that young though. He's like slowly developed over time, hasn't he?
yeah, I think
But
he's like,
but he's always been
he's
on the
25.
Lions. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 25. He's always
Okay.
been on the
I
Lions.
would have thought 27 to be honest. So yeah, he's
Yeah.
younger than I thought. That's good for him at least. Maybe there'll
But,
be some time for the Lions to get better.
Yeah, I just love it that he's listed as a wide receiver and he still wears 39.
Wait,
It's
he's
great.
listed as a receiver now? Now they just straight
Yeah.
up changed his designation.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like Devin Hester. That's cool. I'm fine with that. Ah man, yeah. Though I think what are we hoping for? Like 3 wins in Detroit?
That's generous. Maybe 2.
Really?
Like,
No, because their quarterback isn't atrocious. He is not atrocious.
yes. Yeah, their quarterback can win games. Dan Campbell looks like he is going to be a guy that guys want to play for.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'd
So-
love to play for him.
3 wins. I could see 3 wins.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for them.
New Orleans.
Yeah,
Okay.
moving on.
Okay. Last season is such a different discussion from this upcoming season. So just quick, what about last season for New Orleans? Just before, not moving into next yet.
Drew Brees looked like he was hurting. Just
Yeah,
there were
it
games
never
where it's
looked
like,
good.
why do you have this guy throwing the ball? Just
I agree with you. It did not look good at all. Like most of the year. Week 1 didn't seem bad.
no. Amazingly, after a whole offseason to recover and get that arm feeling good, he had 1 game in him to ball, and then it just the whole season it's like they were getting by the skin of their teeth for a lot of the wins, and when they lost, it was like
Man.
losing the
Yeah.
Eagles,
Yeah.
losing to the Chiefs.
I mean,
it's-
we also have to remember this team went 12-4, but I mean, you beat Tampa Bay twice. We have to say that's an impressive feat. But I
Yes.
mean, we also have to remember that this team did get wins against people like Kendall Hinton starting at quarterback. Like some of their wins were just straight up handed to them.
Also, to acknowledge, Taysom Hill did start for some of the games for them, but he went what, like 2-1, 3-1 as a
Yes,
starter.
and one of those games was the Kendall Hinton game handed to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, so
It's like, Taysom, if you lose this game, you suck.
yeah.
You're awful.
During that time, I just didn't understand. Like, you could get Jameis out here, just see what he can do. Guy that can actually throw the ball. But
Okay.
Sean Payton likes his little gadget trick play stuff, and I mean, more power to him for that.
Yeah. But I think in the end that we would say the reason they lost in the divisional round is because of Breeze, right? Breeze held them
Yes.
back. Yeah.
But it's Breeze's fault, but like there's nothing Breeze can do if his whole body is hurting after a season.
Oh,
It's
no.
just he's old and it's time to throw the towel in.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I mean that's basically it. There's nothing much you can do there. It's not his fault. I mean, geez, asking anybody to play the football when they're like 30 is tough.
yeah. And
43 or 42, whatever he is now, 42, I think.
yeah.
Yeah,
But-
no, it's just it's a lot. I mean, yeah, that's basically it for last season. You want to talk about this upcoming season?
Sure.
We know
their
that they're
cap-
not going to sign any free agents that will make their
Yes.
team any better. So their only option to improve their team is through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And besides that, we can guarantee that their roster will be getting worse.
Yep.
And that's purely because of cap space. So, are we taking the odds that Jameis will be the starter in this upcoming season?
I sure hope he is.
Yeah, and they do have a lot of. They still have a solid defense. Not like I wouldn't put it on the level of great. I think a lot of people want to put the Saints level on the level of great, and I don't think it is the level of great. I think it's good though. I think it's very good.
Yeah, they're. It's one of those things where, uh, they they'll play the media or everyone just watches primetime games when it's not their team. So they perform well in primetime games, but then if you look at it as a whole, it's like, I don't really know what you're doing out here when you got two 30-plus corners as your like starting corners after Lattimore, and you got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson getting guys to punch him in the face.
I mean, that's just a good strategy. Don't
He
call him out
is.
for that.
No. I want to give Chauncey Gardner-Johnson props. He is a menace. He is. He wakes up in the morning.
The only thing that's sad about that is that's actually his best ability on the football field. It's like
it's so weird. Just like, oh yeah, this guy just gets guys to punch him in the face. Oh, like the opponent? Oh no, like he gets Mike Thomas to punch him in the face in practice too.
oh jeez. Okay. What do we think the Saints are gonna do next season? I think it's gonna be downhill with Jameis at QB. I don't think it's gonna be as good.
Well, don't say it's gonna be downhill. Because the team as a whole is not going to be good. Don't put that all on Jameis.
Whoa. What piece is going to get significantly worse besides the quarterback position?
No. The quarterback position is going to get significantly worse. I feel like they're going to have to cut
I asked you what. Yeah, what position?
Probably corner. Probably a lot of their secondary is going to get worse because
really,
what they've got they got Jackrabbit and they got Malcolm Jenkins. They're probably going to get rid of them because they're old. There's no point for them to be playing for them.
Okay, but would that be making them worse or better?
What, by getting rid of Malcolm Jenkins and Jackrabbit?
Yeah, I think you could make the argument that would be making them better because they got Gardner Johnson, they got Marcus Williams still, and they got Marshawn Lattimore. So that only leaves one open spot in the secondary, and if you can fill that in with a half decent player, then I think that makes them a better team.
I just don't see them not cutting a lot of decent guys on their team. They're going to be losing a lot of depth.
Yeah, but you only need to get one player in the draft to help that secondary. So is there another position that you think you think number 2 corner is going to make them so much worse that you can't say that the losses, the increase in losses is due to the fact that Jameis is the starting QB instead of Drew Brees?
I don't know what the contract situation looks like for a lot of the guys on the defense.
You're right. We will have to see where this roster falls after this. But fine. Right now, where do you think they're going to be record-wise next season? They went 12-4 this season. I'll say 8-8 for them. What do you say right now at this moment?
8-8.
Oh, so you're with me. Okay, whatever.
Yes.
We don't even disagree. Tampa, they won the Super Bowl. We talked about them before. Do we just want to say clap, and go listen to the? We should still say what we think they're going to do next year. Well, I think they know each other now. I think their record probably only improves, and I think New Orleans is worse.
Yeah.
What do we want to go, like 13-3 for them? I want to go like 13-3.
Yeah, 13-3. Division as a whole, like I don't.
They're not gonna lose anybody because I'm pretty sure they're gonna be able to re-sign.
Everyone's gonna take a pay cut to stay there.
At least for 1 year.
Yeah. And they're gonna get. Well, AP has already said that he wants to go to Tampa, so I mean, you can get rid of Leonard Fournette. You got your power back right there.
You got your 1, 2, and 3 back right there.
Yeah. But Tampa is going to be one of the best teams. Like we said in the last episode,
Don't worry.
Tom Brady said he's coming back.
Don't
Don't
worry.
really.
If you want to move on from them, if you have nothing else to say, we can just move on from them because we already talked about
I
them
just
for an
wanna
hour.
I just wanna get this out so we're not forcing people to have to go and watch the last one.
We
Like
should
we
though.
said, yeah. But Tom Brady is one of the greatest or the greatest quarterback of all time. I think we came to that conclusion.
Yeah, that
He
one wasn't hard to come to.
Yes, yes. Him coming back, we don't understand it, but he's not coming back to lose games. So that
Yeah. Yeah.
they're going to be just as good, if not better, next season.
Yeah,
with them gelling now.
he'll flip out on anybody who makes a single mistake next season.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. Carolina. I'd say this. I don't know. What I was hearing before last season from everybody else is that they thought Carolina was gonna get to about this level, this probably like 5-win range. But the thing is that I thought Carolina would be better than this. However, they did lose Christian McCaffrey, and I would argue that if they had Christian McCaffrey, they would have been a lot better of a team. So I don't know
Yes.
how you feel about this, but he was out. He was not 100%. He was 100% for like 2 games this season. 2.
Mhm. Yeah. If CMC's there, they win a lot more games. I also kind of think Teddy was holding them back a bit. If PJ Walker is the starting quarterback for that team, I think they win a couple more games.
Oh, good lord! I'd have to see that one before I believe it. I know we're in love with Taylor Heineke, but
There's only one quarterback on the Panthers team that went undefeated as a starter, and that is PJ Walker.
The starter in what?
As quarterback
In what?
in in a football game.
He started a game
Yeah.
this year.
Yes.
What? When was it? I really didn't even know this happened. What week was it? Was it really late in the year?
It was against the Lions, week 11.
Oh, that's why. Because
They
we
won
knew.
20. They won 20-0.
Oh, okay. I remember that now. It was just that it was the Lions. Sorry, PJ. I forgot about that game, PJ. Yeah, I mean that's a good argument. It's a good argument.
There just seemed like there was a lot of times this season where Teddy was. I love Teddy. Don't get me wrong. I love Teddy. I'm glad that he's getting his opportunity to be a starting quarterback. He's more than earned it, coming back from injuries and everything, being on the Jets and then the Saints. But if PJ Walker, that one game against the Lions brought a lot of he was very dynamic, and Teddy is not that. And I feel like every quarterback now in the NFL, unless you're Tom
Did you
Brady.
watch that game?
Yes, I watched that game.
Okay, I had to ask that because I'm like, what are you just like literally
No.
looking at the
I watched
stats
that
like
game. I knew PJ Walker was playing. I watched that game.
Okay, that makes sense. Fine.
But yeah, their defense is great. Jeremy Chin is an absolute stud. Yeah, the Brian Burns is a stud. Every young guy on that defense is a stud.
Yeah, I freaking love Jeremy Chin, and Brian Burns is a great player too. I mean that defense is really, the young pieces there are really exciting, and McCaffrey obviously, and I think Moore will be a pretty good player. I mean,
talking about Jamal Agnew for the Lions. Curtis Samuel is amazing.
Really amazing.
Yeah.
Huh.
He's very dynamic.
Alrighty, I'll take note of that. I hadn't taken note of that before, but I'll make sure that when we go into the off season and we talk about the Panthers, we can really dig into that discussion, because that's what'll be truly fun when we actually just have whole episodes devoted to each of these teams.
Yes.
Yeah. Record prediction for them next year? I guess what are we thinking they're going to do at quarterback? Just because everything is basically, if you don't have a top 5 quarterback, we don't know what your quarterback position is going to be next year. So what are we predicting? Are we liking that Teddy is there most likely next season?
Teddy is probably going to be the starting quarterback, but they're probably going to draft a guy. That's going to be my guess. And
I th- then
they,
I think I'm going to say 7 wins.
I think they stay about the same where they are. Maybe actually, nah, the Saints, 6 or 7 wins. Yeah,
No, pick one because if I say
six,
7 and you
six,
say 6, good,
six.
good, good. It's like now there's a tiebreaker. Um, boy, I don't even like know if I could talk about this team, but Atlanta.
Like I said to you the other day
Yeah.
when I was doing some notes, going through, thinking about all these guys. Got to Atlanta. I was like, I got nothing. Wrote Young Hoku in. That was about all I got. I He's the only guy on their team that did anything remarkable this season.
Okay.
They
Okay. Is there a game where the Falcons got blown out this season?
uh,
Did they get blown out at all this season?
uh I'm looking through the games. No.
So
They lost the last game of the season. They lost to the Bucks 44-27. That was the worst.
even then, putting up putting up 27 points is hard to ever call a blowout. Like, I think like if they lost, I would say losing 17-0 is probably worse than losing 44-27. That just means like they scored a lot. But
Yeah, and Atlanta also had 2 games this season where they put up 40 plus points.
yeah, I mean, they're it's that Chargers scenario you got where it's gonna be not this year, but I mean I guess even this year kind of, but just those old like how it's felt for the Chargers for like the last half decade really, where it's been like these close games they would come into, they wouldn't be able to win. And I really can't remember for sure if this has been like a 2-year stretch now or it was just the past year where they've kind of been struggling in close games. But if it was only just this year, how do you remember it? I only remember it as this past year. Has it been multiple years
I
that they've
think
done
it.
this?
I think it's been 2 years. At the least 2 years, they've struggled in close games.
Jeez, that makes it scarier. Because if it was just 1 year, then I would say I like the odds of them just getting like the luck of the draw. If you're in close games all the time and you have 1 year where you lose a lot, the next year you should be able to win a lot of them. But if it's 2 years in a row, then it could come down to more of a coaching thing. And if it's more of a coaching thing, then that's where it gets scary. On the other hand, though, they will be getting a new coach this year, correct?
Yes, Arthur Smith, the offensive
Titans
coordinator for the
offensive
Tennessee
coordinator.
Titans.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes. He'll Todd Gurley is slightly different than Derrick Henry, um, along with Julio Jones being slightly different than AJ Brown. Although Julio Jones, to be fair, Julio Jones is basically just old man AJ Brown at this point, so
Yeah. Well,
it's kind of there.
hold on. Do you know how many games Julio played this season?
Dude, I gotta be honest. After like the third Falcons game of the season, when they started like 0-3, and it was just like, okay, if this team can't win a close game, I stopped paying attention to them. So I have no idea how many games Julio
All
Jones
right.
played this season.
Julio played 9 games this season. Started all 9 of
For
them.
some reason, that's the amount that I was thinking in my head without having any reference.
Oh, okay. After hearing how many games he's played, how many yards do you think he got?
Um, in 9 games,
Yeah.
let's say if it's underwhelming, let's say 50 yards a game. So 9 times 50 is 450. And do you want me to guess touchdowns too?
Sure, if you want.
Let me guess. Let me guess half the amount of games he played. So I'll just round that up to 5.
In 9 games, Julio Jones had 771 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Oh,
He was third on the team in receiving yards.
oh, okay. So that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I like
yeah.
those numbers.
He was 15 yards away from tying Russell Gage at number 2, and Russell Gage played every single game.
Do they still have? Is Olamide Zaccheaus still on their team?
Yes, he
Oh,
is.
that's like the best name in the NFL. Oh, they need to do like all they can to just force feed him the ball so that commentators have to say Olamide Zaccheaus all the time. Or at least like send him to New England where like he'd have to be the number 1 receiver. Yeah. Yeah. No. I don't know. I think I still like this team to get better though. They still have a lot of things that could. I mean, it's a lot of offense though. I'm really relying a lot on offense here because their defense isn't quite as good as their offense.
Yeah, it's a situation where they got their franchise quarterback and two franchise receivers in Julio and Calvin Ridley, and it's just like, you guys, why aren't you winning more games? And it's a 1 possession game every single game, and they just can't win it.
Yes, it it it's like I said, if it happens consistently, it's got to be a coach thing. But now we've got a new coach, so I would have to hope that whatever issues the other coach was having can get resolved. Um, that's basically all I don't know. That's all I can really hope for. Um, I don't know. What about defense? They drafted AJ Terrell, and he just from what I'm looking at right here, it looks like he had a pretty decent season. Deion Jones obviously still playing pretty well. Who else? Grady Jarrett was on the team, but it doesn't look like his season was necessarily up to his standard. So I mean, and then did Keanu Neal get injured before the season? Wait a minute. No, Keanu Neal played 14 games this season. I thought he was hurt.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't think he actually played that much. I guess I'm crossing over the past 2 years, right?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, because Keanu Neal still had 100 tackles this season, and he even had 9 tackles for loss at safety, which is really nice. So they got a few guys on defense, but I mean, I think their defense is still significantly weaker than their offense, which is going to hold them back.
Yeah.
Like they're always probably going to allow a lot of points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's got to be a point of emphasis. Maybe they should just do what the Panthers did the last draft and just only draft defense.
Probably. That is probably what they have to do. The thing is that's rough for them is that their offensive pieces are old too.
Yeah.
It's like, oh. Well, at least they traded for Hayden Hurst a few seasons back.
It was this offseason.
No, I know it was just last year, but man. Yeah, they're probably not in that good of a place. They're not in like that good of a place to be good, but I think their record could still be better next year. Like I'd probably say like 6-10 next season or something.
Yeah, I think like 7-9 maybe. If a lot of those games it's just
you gotta. I mean, the thing is that we're gonna do this again once like their team gets reestablished and we see who ends up on all their on their roster and whatever, and then actually see who their opponents are too. Because yes. I mean, I think a lot of people that are in sports media generally underrate that drastically is who people are actually playing with in a season. So you can be a good team and play like 12 other good teams on your schedule and go 4-12.
Yeah,
that could happen.
Yeah, it's just
yeah, no, it's
very
there's a lot of things to look at when you're talking about football. especially because football is the sport with like the shortest schedules, so it's like your errors are so magnified.
Mm-hmm. What
Seattle,
do you think? Sorry, what were you saying?
Seattle, or
Oh,
do you have
we
one thing?
didn't even get a. Oh, well, you said you think they're gonna win 7 games. I think they're gonna win 6 games.
Uh,
The
uh,
Falcons. Or did you say 6 and I say 7?
I said 6 and you said
Six,
7.
six,
Jeez,
7. Sorry,
don't
sorry.
don't try to take my
We've been
prediction
at this
from
for
me.
a long time. We've been at this for a long time.
Well, I mean, it was you were the one who said that we had to keep this schedule as it was going, so we have to finish it out. We only have one more division left, so it can't be that much worse. I mean, it's
All
going to
right.
be a great episode. If anybody listens to this
Yes.
all the way through, they're going to have plenty of content to smack on. Lick their
Yes.
lips and salivate over.
Someone's just got a really long workout and just really wanted to listen to this.
Hey, I mean, maybe they got a road trip or something. You never know.
All right, let's get to Seattle. Um, Russ cooked for half the season.
For like 4 weeks, more like
5 weeks.
5 weeks. Okay.
He cooked until the bye week.
Wait, let's see. I'm just gonna check who they played week 5. Oh, that was the Minnesota game that they barely pulled off at the end.
Hey,
That was a fun game to watch, though. It's a fun game to watch.
Russ cooked for 5 weeks,
Uh,
and then after that,
do you like this team to be at the top? I
no,
I do not like this team being at the top of the division again. I do.
no.
I'm
I-
just looking at the other 3 options, and it's just like Seattle literally hit their upside perfectly this season to go 12-4, and these other teams, all of their upsides are like a lot higher than Seattle, which means that only one of these 3 teams that are also in their division have to like hit their really good upside to be better than Seattle. So I don't like Seattle being the top again.
Yeah, no. It's just you can't do anything if Russ is trying to do everything, and that's what he does every game. He tries to do everything.
Well, I mean, they gotta establish the run. I mean, that's what Pete Carroll and the whole crew there has been preaching forever.
Mhm.
And when you don't have Marshawn Lynch, it's or you don't even really have a running back that is like it's like a overpowering presence. You just have like some guys that are kind of somewhere in the middle of the road. I think if you really want to get like a establish the run thing going, then you really need to look to draft a guy or draft a few guys that are bruisers, right?
Yeah, it doesn't
Like,
make any sense.
Does Chris Carson really make you go establish the run?
No. Yeah, look at all their running backs. Chris Carson, Carlos Hyde, DJ Dallas, Travis Homer. None of those guys. Oh, and also Alex Collins too. Yeah, Pete. We're really gonna establish the run with these guys.
They're all like middle of the road. None of them.
Yeah,
None of them are like, geez, that guy's like a really tiny, elusive back, and none of them are really like, that's a big back I'm scared of. Yeah, it's just like, okay, they're somewhat in between. Yeah, I know what you mean. I completely agree, and I think it's a mistake. Is this the roster's not going to have much change though, is it?
No, Greg Olson retired.
That doesn't change much.
Everyone else on the defense is gonna stay the same.
Metcalf and Lockett
Yeah,
will still be
they
there.
don't have any draft. They don't have any draft capital to really bring in a lot of new guys because they sent a lot of their picks to get Jamal Adams.
Oh, that's true. That actually kind of hurts.
Yep.
Yeah, no. Last season, I don't know what I want to say about it. It's a weird team. 12-4 is a good season, and it's kind of better than I expected for them. But at the same time, like, this team is just so weird, and the fact that I didn't think they would lose to the Rams in the first round, but then they did, and they're just wacky. I mean, I don't like them. I'll say this: I do not think that they're going to be headed back to the Super Bowl next year, even even really remote. If they got past the divisional round, I would be shocked. I think they could screw up enough to manage to get to the divisional round, but if they got past the divisional round, I would be really surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's messy over there. And it seems like basically everyone around that organization is in some sort of like muddled waters right now, where like no one's really like clear if anybody else on the team is happy, and I just don't like it. I don't know. But they've still got good players. So what? 10 wins next year?
I was thinking 9 and 7.
Okay, I'll go 10, just to make sure I'm different from you. Yeah, LA. We got Stafford, baby.
Yeah, they got Stafford. They improved yeah, I'll say it. They improved a lot at the quarterback position by bringing Stafford in.
And the best part of it is that we know that even if Stafford like breaks his arm or cracks an ankle or
he's still gonna play,
or his neck is like completely snapped sideways, he'll stay in the game.
Yeah.
So the Rams may be like, geez, we wish we had like a few good quarterbacks, but I mean Stafford may as well be a few good quarterbacks because he doesn't get hurt. He's staying on the field.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, with that alone, I think this team improves a ton.
It's just one of those things where I think broken neck Stafford may be better still than Jared Goff.
Yes. I potentially agree with that. So, last season, I mean, was anything surprising? It just seems like the same old Rams. Like,
yeah, I mean,
just seems like same old, like what we've come to expect.
Same old. Aaron Donald's gonna be overrated.
Luckily,
defense is gonna be solid.
This is 3 hours and 15 minutes into this, so like nobody's gonna hear that comment. But wait until we lead a podcast with that.
Yeah, that's gonna blow some people back, but it's true. It's true. And you agree with that Aaron Donald is very overrated.
Oh, I think I probably put that more into your mind than you did.
Oh, no, you definitely did. You opened my eyes. You helped me realize that he does not deserve a lot of the praise that he gets.
Yeah, no, I mean, come on. Give the award to somebody else, guys. We don't need to just be saying, "Oh my gosh, he could squat this much."
But all the pressures he causes by drawing triple teams
and all the run plays where I see him in one-on-one run block situations just get pile drived 4 yards down the field, and it's just like, oh well, he's the defensive player of the year.
You know how Orlando Pace caused them to start recording pancakes as a stat?
I didn't know that. Orlando Pace was the reason for that.
Well, he is. I feel like there's going to come a point where Aaron Donald starts, like, he's going to cause everyone to start recording, like, as an official stat, double and triple teams. Oh. And that's going to be something that gets included.
Probably.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, no, that's going to be insane. But I mean, seriously, just besides Aaron Donald, they got to 10 wins. They lost to the Jets. That feels pretty Rams-esque. I mean, just winning a good number of games and then still managing to lose some that they definitely shouldn't have lost. I mean, and just running the same Sean McVay offense we've seen for a while now. Is there anything that surprised us? I don't think so.
No. Jared Goff. Didn't really do anything that jumped out at me.
Yeah.
The receivers are great. Kupp and Woods are one of the best duos in the NFL.
Oh, but yeah, in regards to next season, just super excited to see Stafford, especially if he gets an opportunity to play in the playoffs and actually have a chance to win a playoff game. It'll be awesome.
Yes, that I may shed a tear if I see Matthew Stafford win a playoff game.
Oh, I will. I'll be so happy for him. That'll be awesome. That'll be great. I mean, there's not much else you could wish for as a football fan. Just wishing guys that have been in such tough spots for so long to win games. Yes, you have to root for them. It's like, how can you not?
Yeah.
I don't know. What do we think next season? Oh jeez, man. These guys. I think these guys and the Niners will probably be the two best teams in the division
Yes,
next season.
that is exactly what I was thinking as well. I think with
How
Stafford, they
how
win
good
like
this?
two more games, maybe
I'm
one or
gonna
two
I'm
more
gonna
games.
be, dude. They could be. That offensive scheme is so good. Like just thinking about it right now, like I'm I'm thinking like where would we want them? Oh man, I did. I'm gonna say 13 games, but like oh, just thinking about it, like that'd be exciting. Like I really would be excited to think that maybe they could like be the best team record wise in the league next season with Stafford. Like I'm
Yeah.
not there's other people that are high on the Rams normally, but with Stafford, like I'm not I haven't been a Rams hype man in the past, but Stafford, yes, I would join that Rams hype man bandwagon. I'll
I
say 13 games though.
I don't know about best record in the NFL. I do think they win one or two more games with Stafford. I'll say they win. What do I want to say for the Niners though? Yeah, they win 12 games. They win 12 games. The
Did
Rams
we
win 12.
did we do the record guesses for the AFC or where did
I don't think we did. I think that's just something we started uh
for
like
the
halfway
NFC?
through. Yeah, I think that's just something we started with the NFC.
Oh jeez. Oh well. Wait, did we? Ah, jeez. I don't think we did the AFC. How fast do you think we can lightning round the AFC?
Uh
Here. If I do mine, if I think I'll try to do mine as fast as possible, okay?
all right.
Okay. Bills 12 wins, Dolphins 10 wins, Patriots 6 wins, Jets 3 wins, Pittsburgh uh 8 8 wins, Cleveland 12 wins, Baltimore 10 wins, Cincinnati 7 wins. I think we started at Cincinnati. Did we?
Maybe.
I think we started at Cincinnati because I think I asked you what Cincinnati would do next season. Does that sound right?
Maybe.
What about Indianapolis, Tennessee, Houston, Jacksonville? Did we do them?
I don't think we did those.
Okay, then let me just keep going with the AFC. Sorry. Indianapolis. Who else is in this division? Indianapolis, 10 wins. Tennessee, 12 wins. Houston, uh, 1 win. Jacksonville, 3 wins. Kansas City, 14 wins. Las Vegas, 7 wins. Chargers, 9 wins. Denver, 6 wins. I think we did LAC and Denver too. I think because I
Yeah.
definitely think we talked about them. Whatever, you do your AFC teams quick because I think that was
Uh,
only like a minute and a half for me. So see if you can do
o-
like a minute. And a half.
okay. Bills 13, Dolphins 11, Patriots 5, Jets 5, Steelers 9, Cleveland 10, Baltimore 11, Cincy 6, Colts 9, uh, Titans 12, Texans 1, Jacksonville 4, KC 14, uh, Raiders 8, Chargers 9, Broncos 4,
What did you say for Houston?
1.
Okay, okay, I just missed that, so I had to hear what you said. Okay, we just got Arizona and San Fran left. Let's try to knock these
Yes.
out. Hey, I mean, we got like 8 minutes. Well, actually, like 7.5 minutes before I think we hit. Well, we're gonna combine these recordings. Sorry, a spoiler alert. We have 2 recordings for this because we kind of messed up halfway through. But um, looking at like 3.5 hours, I'm guessing. Let's see what we can get for Arizona and San Fran. Arizona this season, boy, that end of the season drop off was terrible.
They sold their souls to complete that Hail Mary.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible. I mean, number 1 play on the NFL's top 100 play of the year, and actually that game individually had like 6 plays. 6 plays from that game were in the NFL's top 100 plays of the year. It
I
may have
mean,
only been 5, but I think I'm just guessing because I wasn't counting initially, and it felt like by the end there were like 6 plays from that game alone.
It's just one of those games where I don't really feel like I appreciated it enough
Because
as a
my
good
team
game
lost. Oh
because
yeah,
my team,
no.
yeah, because my
Oh,
team lost.
freaking terrible. But yeah, no. This team disappointed hard at the end of the season. That must have been tough for Arizona fans.
Yes. Just they they crumbled apart,
Yeah.
and I have no idea what, like, the teams they played aren't really the loss to New England.
No, yeah. The end of
Man,
the end
like,
of the season. I mean, I can't remember where Arizona finished last year, but I don't think Arizona, and by last year I mean 2019, 2020, not 2020, 2021.
they finished with 5 wins last year.
Yeah, well, I mean, that means that they're playing some pretty bad opponents. Just because that's how the schedule is made, is if you're a worse team, you're going to play worse opponents. So, with that, that's only like 2 games of the season, but even 2 games can help you to, like, go from, like, say if they were going to win six games this year, they win 8 games instead because they had 2 extra games against bad opponents, right?
Well, they
So,
also played the NFC East too.
oh jeez, that helps. Yeah, that you ain't kidding. I mean, I think this team is probably just this team overall just probably has a lot of holes in it that we probably aren't seeing as clearly as we should be because of some of the flashy pieces like Kyler, DeAndre, Buda Baker, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest though, just one more thing about the Hail Murray. I still would much rather be the team that let up the Hail Murray than be the team that had like a 100-yard pick six in our lap and got like chased down from like 20 yard head start. Not on like a D lineman either. Like a defensive back got chased down with a 20-yard head start.
Yeah, but they still won that game, so
Nah, I don't want that play. That play would annoy me so much more than the Hail Murray does.
eh,
It really would. I would be so much more upset. I mean,
I don't know if I can agree with you on that. I understand where you're coming from. I don't know if I can agree with you on that.
any more thoughts on last season for the Cards?
Uh, Hassan Reddick got like all of his sacks against the Jets,
Oh shoot, yeah. How many was it?
or was it against the Giants? He had all those
Giants,
sacks.
Giants. It was Giants. But how many was it?
Um,
Was it like 5?
hold on, let me. Giants. The defense as a whole had 6. And I think Hassan Reddick had 5 of them.
That's an
And he
amazing game.
finished with 12 and a half on the season. So
Yeah. Yep. Well, next season, what are we looking at? I mean, nobody's really leaving this team, right?
no. The main thing I'm gonna look out for next season for the Cardinals is for Isaiah Simmons to develop more and maybe actually develop like a solid role on the team instead of like, oh, we'll put you out there sometimes maybe, because it just seemed
Sometimes
like he
maybe.
had no. It just seems like he had no consistency at a role at all.
Oh, he
They had
probably
him
did
listed
that.
as a linebacker. Like, I understand that going into the draft, he was like, oh, you could play him at slot corner or linebacker or safety or edge rusher. And the Cardinals just heard all those positions and thought that they were getting like 8 different guys, but they just had one and they had no idea what to do with them.
Yeah, probably not.
So I really hope he develops more and gets a solid role in the team.
Yeah, they
And
probably need to give him a like actual position to play.
yes, and you know, it's that time of the year where everyone says Pat Pete's leaving the team. So
Yes, that was
he
so fun for you to tell me that the other day for him to immediately deny those comments. And this is like the 4th year in a row that has happened. And it's like league tradition now. It's hilarious.
yeah, I think Goodell just sends him a text, be like, hey Pat, just gotta put this out there. So I think he's like, I like it here. Why you have to lie?
It's so funny. Why is that a thing? Oh well. I don't. Jeez. Well, they're gonna. Well, they're still the third place team in the division, which means their competition isn't gonna be much better than them being the fourth place team in the division. So, I guess that's a good. I mean, I don't know. Still probably gonna hover around the same spot, but I mean, I think the rest of the division may be better. Jeez, I'm just picking between 7 or 8 wins right here. Are you gonna pick one of those two numbers?
I was going to say 6.
Oh, okay, then I'll pick 7. Okay, that makes my life easier.
Because they're not going to play against the AFC East next season, or the NFC, if I said it. They're not gonna play against
The NFC East.
They're not going to play against the NFC East next season. That spotted them 4 wins right off the bat. So.
Jeez, really? Did they won? They did win all those games, right?
Yes, they did.
Oh my gosh!
Let me just check just to make sure.
Washington, New York, Dallas,
yes,
Philly.
Win.
Was the
win.
Philly
Yep,
game?
they won all 4 of them.
Philly game. The Philly game was
Philly
good.
game was close.
It was
Philly
a good
game.
game. It was a good game, but
Yes.
they didn't win. Okay, yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, last team, San Fran. Well, they basically just got injured. I mean,
Yep.
it was MetLife Stadium ended their season.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically it.
Yeah, there's nothing really. It's hard to even analyze them as a team because it's just.
Nah, yeah, I wouldn't say that there's much to analyze as a team. I would say taking more from the 2019 season than the 2020 season. I mean, I just said, what did I say? The Rams are going to win 13 games. I don't know. I still really like a lot of pieces the Niners have, and I know Jimmy Garoppolo isn't the best quarterback, but I think he's plenty good, especially for how that team works. And if I'm going to give the Rams 13 wins, I could say 11 or 12 wins for the Niners. Like, I love Kittle too. Kittle's, Kittle's like the one tight end in the league that I really think is a great player. The other guys are like putting up numbers that are making them look like great players. Kittle is a great player.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think there's a difference. You know what? Just because I love George Kittle so much, I'll give them the 12 wins instead of 11 wins for my guess.
I'll give them the 11 because that's what I was gonna. When I thought about the Rams, I was like, I'm gonna give the Rams. I think I said the Rams 12. And
yeah, you did.
The Niners are gonna have one less win than the Rams.
Yeah. Well, all right. You got any other thoughts on the Niners?
Jimmy G is a good
ladies
quarterback.
Man. He's a ladies man.
He is a ladies man. Yes,
Dude.
He is a good quarterback. Also, though, and I understand wanting to upgrade, but I don't see the point.
You don't see the point?
No. I see the point.
Deshaun Watson comes knocking.
Yes, if you can get Deshaun Watson, then yes. But I don't see the point of like, let's trade Jimmy G. I saw this. This has like, no, I have not seen this on Twitter. I haven't seen anyone of note that is important to actually tweet this. But I saw someone,
some moron.
Yeah, some moron say that the 49ers should upgrade from Jimmy G by trading him for Tua, and that's stupid. Don't do a trade just to trade.
No, don't do that.
Yes.
There's like no guarantee that that's gonna work at all. Don't do that.
And also, I don't really see the point in them drafting a quarterback either.
Really, draft? I think the draft is a different story. I think if you really like a quarterback and you have just a mediocre quarterback now, there's no reason not to draft a quarterback.
I just I see them winning 11 games, so I don't really grasp the idea of like, oh well, let's just make Jimmy G worried and disgruntled by getting a guy. So I don't know.
I mean, if that really makes your quarterback play like crap, then I don't think he should be your quarterback, because you know what Aaron Rodgers did when they drafted a QB?
Yeah, he lit the league on fire. I understand.
Yeah, I want a quarterback that plays like that when I draft a QB.
I just want to waste first-round picks on quarterbacks.
If it works, it works. I mean, Brady started winning Super Bowls again because they did that. You know, Brady went on like a 10-year drought, and then they drafted a QB, and he won 3 again. He won 3 more.
And that's
Seriously.
exactly what Jimmy G needs then. Trade up, get that quarterback.
No, you don't even need to trade up. Just pick where you're at. Like, if a good QB's there, pick the quarterback.
All right. Yeah.
Good on the Niners.
Yeah, I'm good on the Niners.
You got an outro planned?
No, I do not.
Should we just cut it here?
Yes.